Ooh. Banging beats. Wow. This one sounds like a Luna song. I like this one. This is chill. Say hi, 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 hi. Na, 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 na. Hi.
Oh,
Hello, hello.
hello. Is that your new greeting?
Yeah, someone said that once, and I was like, you know what? Sure.
That's amazing. I like that. I need a pun for starting my for greeting with my name too.
Yeah.
Belinda doesn't have.
It's not the same ring to it, does it?
No, we'll work on it.
Work on
All
it.
right, Lua. So, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Woo, this week went by so fast. So I actually was thinking we should preface the lesson with kind of a summary of what we've learned up to today. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds good. Let me fire up my brain.
Okay. Before we start, I just want to give a quick intro to people who are spilling into our chats. I'm Belinda. I do illustration, and I am the subject of the VTuber.
You're the soul, as they say.
Yes, and I'm completely brand new to the whole experience, so I've only had experience drawing in 2D, and so this is like a brand new thing for me. I'm really excited to see where this takes me, and here's my teacher, Miss Lua. You may introduce yourself now.
Hello, everyone. I am VTuber Lua Lucky, and also live 2D rigger and also video game programmer, and also seamstress, and also craft person, and also a lot of things. It's a lot of things.
That's a lot on your resume.
Yeah.
You're quite multi-talented.
I'm multi-doing. I don't know if I'd say talented.
Same thing. It's fine. So just real quick, Lua, I have your social media information. I'm going to plug that in the chat right now. So if you do want to follow Lua on her Twitter account and her YouTube channel, please go and do that. Also, I'm going to paste the POV of her side of the stream. So please also visit that if you'd like. And just sit there and give us lots of engagement.
Yes, please feed the algorithm. Thank you.
Yes. We need to beat the system. We're gonna beat big corporation Mr. Google YouTube. Anyway, all right. So I guess that concludes the introductions. So I guess, like I said, I wanted to go over kind of what we've learned as a summary. The first thing is, what program do you use?
You can use any program that exports as PSD, which is the Photoshop format. I actually also usually draw in Clip Studio Paint and export as PSD, but as you also learned today, there's some weird gotchas with doing that. Namely that you can't use too deep of folders. Like you can't have a folder within 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 one folder.
Yes. I went too far into folder inception. I think the limit was like 5 folders.
That's what it said, yeah.
Yeah. So as long as you keep your folders within 5 folder sections, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have trouble like exporting and importing the file to from Illustrator to Rigger.
Actually, it's funny. I found that doing it in CSP and then converting it to Photoshop is way safer than even just doing it in Photoshop, because Live2D has all these weird restrictions on, like, it has to be RGB 32. I can't remember exactly what the parameters were, but it has to be like super specific in its like color space and stuff. And frequently, if you don't use CSP, it isn't, which I've had a lot of problems with. So I've actually had a lot of times where I had to take a model file and convert it into CSP and then convert it back out, and that fixed it. It was really weird.
Oh, interesting. Huh. I guess that's more of the rigging program being kind of finicky.
Yeah, the Live2D is horrible. It's a horrible program.
No, we're supposed to be promoting it. You fool.
I'll promote it when they pay me to promote it.
That's true. Then we'll love them.
Yes.
All right. So so for drawing programs, you can use anything that can export as a Photoshop file. So Clip Studio, Photoshop, GIMP, whatever you can get your hands on, Procreate.
Yep.
How about the Live2D rigging side? What do you use to rig your models?
You use a program called Live2D Editor. Actually, it's called Cubism Editor, I guess, but it is the Live2D Cubism Editor. And basically, it takes in that PSD, and then you move all the pictures around so that it looks 3D. That's how Live2D works.
You do your magic. And I think to reiterate, the program is actually free for download. There's like a basic version, and then there's like a super version, but the basic version can do what you need it to do with some limitations.
Exactly, yeah.
And then so now that we have the rigging tool and the drawing tool done,
should we note the resolution, because that comes up a lot?
Oh, yes. So for illustration,
yeah,
go ahead.
So a good rule of thumb is that if you zoom into the face like this and it's still at 1080p, you're probably good.
Is that crispy enough for you?
It actually could be crispier, I'm not gonna lie.
What? Wait, yeah, I can see it's kind of like pixelated.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. What's my dimensions? I have it at 11 inches by 17 inches at 350
Inches don't really
DPI.
mean anything. I'm not gonna, yeah, it's all pixels.
Okay, 4,000 pixels by 6,000 pixels.
I would say that this is an absolute minimum. And we'll see, part of the problem is that it's so small compared to the rest of the screen.
Oh, that's true, because it'll get smaller, huh?
Yeah, so I would say that your character across like a normal width character should be like 3,000 pixels.
See, this is good that we're learning this now.
Yours is not that bad, but this is totally riggable. If it were, I've gotten like a quarter this resolution, so and that was painful.
So I guess height, you would recommend minimum this. So anything higher would be better.
This is probably the absolute minimum. Yeah, this resolution of 6,000 high is probably an absolute minimum. Yeah.
Okay. Noted. Rip.
So it goes. It's fine.
It's all right. It's a first draft. Okay. Cool.
And
so
this is fine. This is also fine, honestly.
And then also to say, there is no maximum that you can have for file size as long as your computer doesn't explode, because Cubism automatically scales the image down to the working size.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's part of the texture conversion process.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. All right, cool. So that sounds good. Okay, finally, what do you use for the actual acting, I guess?
The tracking?
The tracking. Tracking.
I think that by far the most popular program to use among non-Japanese VTubers these days is VTube Studio. It has a ton of features, more than you could ever possibly understand or use unless you're super into it like I am. As far as to the point where people can write tools to work with it. It even has that capability, which none of the other tracking programs do. And so basically, VTube Studio is limitless in what it's able to do, which is super, super cool. And then Denshi, who's the guy who makes it, is adding new features every day. However, there are other options. I think the second most popular program is called PRPR or PRPR. I don't know how you say it. But I don't like it very much. But people like it because by default, it tracks some more parameters than VTube Studio does, but VTube Studio can also track those parameters. You just need to set it up too, and it's not even that hard.
All right, cool.
So yeah.
And I believe VTube Studio you can get on Steam.
Yes.
For I think it's like free for like if it's free, but if you want to remove the watermark,
but it has a watermark. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to pay like $15, and then you also have to pay for it on a mobile device, which
assuming
is going
you're
to do
using a mobile device as your camera. Yeah.
Yes. So I guess the segue into the next area is, what devices do you recommend for tracking?
So basically, as a quick overview, VTube Studio needs some sort of camera in order to track your face, right? And you can just use a webcam. You can use a webcam to track your face. You can also use a phone, and the phone, depending on the phone type, it will be marginally better or a lot better. So for instance, if you're on an Android phone, it will be a little bit, now it'll be a little bit better than webcam. It used to be actually worse than webcam, which is hilarious to me. But nowadays it is a little bit better than webcam. By far the best way to track your face is with an iPhone or iPad that's of a newer-ish generation. It has to have something called ARKit. ARKit. It's actually ARKit. I always say ARKit. It's not correct. It's ARKit. Which you can look up a list of all the iPhones that have it. I think after iPhone 7, all of them have it. Something like that. And so that is by far the best way to track your face, because those iPhones have a little IR camera on them.
Right. So it's not technically like looking at a picture. It's more like putting coordinates on your face.
Yes.
So it tracks it. It matches it with the software, and it'll move accordingly to how your face moves.
Yeah.
And then I believe if you order it on, if you purchase the app on mobile, it's also close to like $10-15.
Yeah, something like that. I think that altogether it's only like $40. I mean, it's only quote unquote. It's $40.
Oh, okay, yeah. Which is, a small fee for bringing your face to life.
There's a Japanese equivalent program called Nizima Live that was released somewhat recently, and it's actually made by Live 3D. But you can only use it in Japan, and also it's $5 a month at least.
Oh, it's like a subscription.
It's like a subscription, which a lot of the tracking programs are. VTube Studio is quite unique in that it's not.
I'll take it. Okay, cool. So I think that's a good summary for like what we covered in the first episode of like intro to VTube Studio. And I guess one little thing to mention is that VTube Studio tracks only your facial movements.
Yes.
Or so like if you turn your head, I guess head movements. So if you turn your head, you can program the body to react in a certain way. So she's never like actually flapping her arms. She's just moving her head, and it gives the command to flap arms with it.
Exactly. It does. It can, however, track your hands, but that's a separate thing.
Oh, speaking of devices, what about Connects?
There's no Connect support for VTube Studio. I wish that'd be awesome. That'd be hilarious. Because the iPhone is basically a Connect camera.
Yeah. It's just the iPhone's more advanced, I guess.
It's more people have it.
That's true. No one except people like me who live in the Stone Age have a Connect. All right, cool. So thank you for that quick summary. It was very informative, and it was a good refresher for our previous lesson. I just want to say a quick hello to chat because people are kind of spilling in and saying hello. Happy Friday. Thanks for stopping by. Again, I just wanted to plug Lua's social medias, so please give her a visit. And here is the POV of the stream on her end, so please also visit the link. It looks different from mine, so you can actually see like her live 2D model moving around as she speaks, and instead of just looking at my dorky drawing bobbing up and down. And also, Lua is my rigger. She's the one that's walking us through this whole process. So just want to thank you again for taking the time to do this. It's
my pleasure.
So yeah, great. So okay, that's out of the way. I also wanted to let you guys know that this is like a very beginner friendly zone. So if anybody in chat has any questions regarding the illustration side of live 2D models and or the rigging portion of live 2D models, you have two people here who are very happy to help with all your questions. We'll do our best to answer them, so don't be shy and ask them away, because most likely the chances is you will have a question that none of us considered and thought of, but it will contain very, very useful information. Okay, cool. So with that out of the way, let's move on to the second lesson, part 2, which was rigging the head.
Or drawing the head.
Yes, or I guess layering is the correct term?
Layering or cutting or something like that.
All right, cool. So I guess we'll just walk through very basic. Well, okay, actually, this is a great segment for you to correct my drawing. Because last week we went over the head, and Lua broke down all the little parts that I should expect to break my character's face into, or head into. So I did that. It took about 3.5 hours or something. And keep in mind, this is like kind of base colors. I haven't really rendered it. This is more of just laying down the puzzle pieces and then seeing if it's correct. All right, so if you want to give any quick notes beforehand, you may do so, or you can just dive in and tear it apart.
Let's just dive into it. So I'm going to ignore the collar because I think that you were just screwing around.
yeah. All that stuff, I was messing around.
Okay, what is this? Ignore. Oh, it's all your notes.
It says ignore. So I actually have my things broken out ideally into how a rigger would like to receive their files. The only caveat is that I did not name my layers properly. So there's still a little bit of like randomness in there, but yeah, I don't know if you can see it on my end, but if you check out Lua's stream, you can see I have folders on the right side.
If I could zoom in, I would, but I cannot.
There you go.
Okay.
Let's just do this.
I'm just gonna make the background a gray so I can see holes a little better. Okay. Are you ready?
Be nice.
Oh, yes, of course. So this is your hair specular.
Yes, we can ignore that. It's just for funsies.
Yeah, because obviously eventually this would be cut up into the piece that it's actually on. You've got blush here, which is over everything. Is that intentional?
No, that was so anything that's not in the head folder was kind of just
Gotcha.
ignore.
I will ignore them then. Although the shading had some good information in it. Okay, anyways.
That's just for your FYI. That was like a quick block in of the shadows.
Okay. Then we will dig into the rest of this. We've got eyebrows, which is what is this? Okay, I see this line art in the thing. Okay, that's fine. Of course, it's not cut up into left and right yet.
Right. That's a later thing.
Yeah. We've got the bangs. Whoop, which is apparently everything. Oh, what happened there? Yeah, everything is just in the bangs.
Oh, oops.
That's okay. We will pull that out. Everything that's not bangs.
Obviously, I double checked my work. Of course I did.
Okay. Oh no! Oh no!
No, look at me!
Oh, I can't do it. Okay, it's being weird. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Okay. So
It is cursed.
the funny thing is we actually are gonna do that. We're gonna look at it like this, which is how I evaluate files when I'm going through them, right before I'm going into the Live 2D. Is I hide everything underneath and I just look at each individual layer.
Mm-hmm.
So looks great to me. Looks good. This is the mid bang, the middle of the bangs. We've got the left mid bang, looks good. The right mid bang looks good. And we keep going. I'm sure they're all gonna look good. The question is, do they work together? I got the Ahogate and the Sideburns, which I think I can tell there's gonna be something about that. Okay. So let's hide the bang. Let's slowly dive into it. I think this all looks good though. Yeah, that looks fine. And the Ahogate, I remember as you were drawing it, you cut it up into two, which is great because I can do some cool 3D stuff with that. Did you cut the other ones up? I don't think you did, right? Yeah, no, they're just line art. And so then you have these little curly cues on the side of the face, I believe, or just this one.
Just one.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. I see. Oh, I got you. Perfect.
I like an asymmetrical head. Absolutely.
And then we have the Sideburns, which I think. Yeah. Okay. So I think, did you draw these that they like tuck back behind the head?
They tuck behind the bangs, not the head.
Right.
So they're in front of her ears, behind her bangs.
So the problem is with them currently is that they end a little too early. Like they drift off into nothingness too early.
Okay.
Because this, for instance, they updated Photoshop at one point, and they made it a lot harder for me to free transform, and I will never forgive them for that.
Well, I guess before we dive into that, if the bangs are correct,
yes.
Can you go over like some points? I guess like I know they all have to anchor. Or well, you have to layer them, right?
Yes.
In a way.
I have to preface everything I say because there's like a kind of minimum way of drawing Live 2D, and there's like a maximum way of drawing Live 2D, and I err on the side of maximum. Okay, but I will tell you both. The minimum is that all of the bangs would be one layer, so you will often see that, and as far as how many layers you start breaking into, it's an absolute spectrum, right? Many riggers rather will take just the bangs as one layer and be happy with it. But the less layers you have, the more restricted you are in making it look 3D.
Right.
So the more you break it up, the more power the rigger has to make it look more 3D. So in the case of this, let's say I will show you why that is the case really quickly. Was it this one? I will at least try, at least. Okay, here we go. I will simulate Live 2D. Where's the warp? Where's the warp?
1 second. Before we begin, there's a specific preface we have to give. Is whenever we refer to the word right.
Oh.
It is from the right and left. It's from the character's perspective.
Yes, this is
and
true.
Lamau, thanks for the follow. Yeah, so in this case, all of our rights and lefts will be reversed. So if we say right, we're referring to the left side of the canvas, but it would be the character's right side, and vice versa.
Yes, yes. So if if you were the character, it's your right hand is what's right. Considered right on the character. Where am I losing my mind? Oh, it's not letting me warp. Oh, that's disappointing. Okay, whatever.
Is it because it's not flattened?
Yeah, I think it's because it's multiple layers. It's fine. I don't care that much. Okay, never mind. We're just gonna skip that. But basically, the more you have the locks of hair cut up into individual layers, the more options the rigger has, essentially. So here's I need to change it to select group. That'll make it easier for me. Okay. Oh, nope, not that. Okay, never mind. Okay, so like for instance, this is a lock of hair. This is a lock of hair. This is a lock of hair. Etc., etc. Which is great. This is perfect. Yeah. As far as the specifics of how you want it to look, that's all up to you. This is pretty. This here is pretty 101. You got the line art and the color, but it doesn't have to have line art or whatever, etc. Okay. Is that an okay explanation of bangs and layering in general? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so basically the more layers you give is the more information, like, because basically the idea, the big picture idea is when something moves out of the way, you want something to be beneath it.
Yes.
So that's why you have layering for like things like the bangs, because if her middle part moves, then you want to make sure that her side, the parts on the side, have something underneath to like make up for that information, because that's how real life works. Like your hair doesn't just like disappear to nothingness kind of thing when you move. Yeah. And then obviously the more information you give the rigger, the more magic they can do. And yeah, and it's very possible for people to just give a flat image, but it would become the rigger's responsibility to kind of cut up the image.
And many riggers don't do that. They just don't have the skills to do that, and they don't do it.
Yeah, you might need to like hire a cutter, or you might just need to painstakingly do it yourself. So it's probably a little bit easier to break it up in the beginning as you're working. Yeah.
Many,
the hair disappears
artists...
into nothingness as you age.
Oh no.
God.
Many artists draw the whole thing and then cut it up afterwards, which I think is crazy.
That's a lot of
especially if you're gonna do something really complicated, like doing a lot of layers. You're just setting yourself up for an insane amount of work.
Yeah. So so we were talking about why the sideburns were not enough.
Yes, they were not, because let's see here. So it takes a while of like working with a file to just instinctually know. Oops, that's not right. Ooh, they instinctually know the file names. I hate Photoshop. Okay. Here we go. So, the sideburns sort of end kind of early, and they sort of taper off in a little bit of a strange way, because as soon as this hair moves out of the way, and let's say your head is turned to the right in this case, I mean, turned to the character's right. Let me, I need like a notes layer this way. You would see that this just sort of let me set up my red marker.
So we have a question. It says, would it be best as the artist to try to simulate the live 2D with warping/transform, for instance, or does that not translate very well?
I mean, if it helps you imagine what it's gonna look like, you can, but that doesn't do anything for the rigger. Like, I wouldn't recommend that you. I don't fully understand the question.
I guess it's like as you draw, it's kind of instinctual to like, because when you draw, you kind of have to imagine the image as 3D anyway. So you kind of have to just think, okay, what if this hair moves out of the way? You can just eyeball it a little bit, or you don't have to like go as far as warping and transform. But I mean, for me, it did help to like kind of swish the pieces around to be like, okay, is there anything under this or something like that? So I guess for the sideburns, I guess it's a weird question, right? Because the sideburns, I kind of imagine it as starting in front of the ear, but I guess.
And because it does start in front of the ear, like, okay, I'm saying if your sideburns started from behind the ear, this would be totally fine because you would never see this part. Like if I unhide the head here, see, you would never see it. But because it does start right there, you will see it as soon as she turns far enough to the left or right and her bangs swish out of the way.
I see.
Yeah.
So is it better to like put it up to like, okay, so like the bangs are moving out pretty far, but that middle piece would also move with it, right? Like it wouldn't go out that far on its own.
No, I don't think the bangs would ever go really. I mean, maybe go out this far on its own, but like not really. But you would still absolutely like. Let me just.
I mean, even if you move that little piece next to it, you would still see a
yes,
blank
you would
space,
absolutely still see this pretty easily when the bangs move a little bit because it just needs to be in a little peak between the bangs and there's like a little strangeness there, you know.
Yeah, immersion broken.
Instantly. I mean, if I were you, I mean, obviously this is an artistic decision, but if I were you and I was drawing this, I would just have it like no finish line art up here. I would just have it fade into the hairline that we drew before. Let's see if we have it up here. Where's that hairline? Where'd you go?
Back of head or
no, or did we not draw one?
I don't think I drew.
Oh, okay. There was a thing that we talked about where create clipping mask, where you would have like a hairline like this.
Yes. Okay, I did not add that. I need to add that. No,
it's honestly not even necessary. It probably wouldn't be necessary for this model in most cases. But I guess just I don't know. It's always nice to have one.
No, it makes sense. Yeah. No, it's good.
So what I was saying is you just if I were you, I would just have the sideburn just sort of merge into the hairline like this.
Yeah, and it makes sense to not have line art at that area because it's like you wouldn't want it to be a separate piece, technically speaking. It's supposed to blend into her head.
Blend into the head, exactly, yeah.
Like blender into I'm trying. I want a pun too. Okay, so that makes sense. But okay, then my question is, the way I want the hair to move though is as if it were like at her like temple at the maximum. Like I don't want it to be
it doesn't have to move from the very top.
Okay. It just needs to fill in the space.
Yes, but it just needs to not look weird if it's shown.
Okay.
But sense. It can absolutely the rotation and the anchor point can be absolutely anywhere. That's totally up to the rigger and however they want to do it.
Okay, sounds good. We got a comment. Drawing an initial drawing as a guideline and then redrawing in greater detail in as many layers in groups seems to make a bit more sense, but I suppose there are those that can just go ham from the go. Yeah, I guess if you can. Well, going ham.
I mean,
from the go,
I always at least draw a sketch.
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta. But for me, what I do is I draw a sketch, and then just from my sketch, I just go into doing the line art for the final one. But that's because I'm not a very good artist.
but that's kind of what I did too from here, because we have a beginning sketch. And then I kind of just tried to break down the sketch into like layers. It's like, okay, well, this section should be separate from this section kind of thing. But this is considered like the final line art, I guess. Yeah. So it's not as advanced as going ham, but it's like baby steps. But yes. And then not drawing an initial drawing as a guideline and then redrawing in greater detail. Yeah, so I would assume that's like starting with a sketch and then breaking it down into layers. Unless you're referring to drawing the entire thing rendered and then breaking it down to layers, that's like double work. So I don't know if that's worth it. All right, and I also got a comment that it was a terrible pun. I'm so sad. I'm gonna go cry now. All right, go ahead. Continue, please. So that answers the question for those sideburns. I will extend that. I'm going to leave some notes for myself, too. I don't know where my pen is.
Much better. Sorry, I was working on my background music. Okay. So next, and also I should note that you did a wonderful thing. Which is, of course, I mean, obviously all of your work is wonderful, and I'm really bad at remembering to give compliments. It's a bad habit of mine.
It's all right. I'll just assume everything that you don't mention is great.
If I don't say anything, that's a compliment. Which is that you separated these sideburns into two parts, the left and right, so that when you actually, the head turns, please Photoshop. Okay. You can sort of move these left and right to make it look a little bit more 3D, which is a technique I love to use. Done with the bangs.
We love our movements here.
Yes. We love layers. Okay. So again, not yet divided into left and right, which is totally fine. That is absolutely something you can do, especially if it's symmetrical at the last step. And that's great. You have the top part of the ribbon. You have the tail as its own. You have the other tail as its own. You have the under interest. Okay, well, that is actually probably a problem. Is it? That this under part is over the over part.
Oh, I guess it could be under. Oh, okay. How would I go about doing that then? Okay, so I guess we should preface first how the ribbons differ from hair, because this is like a 3D object.
Yes. So this is ribbons are very, very common. Very common, actually, just in general, in rigging VTubers. And I should pull into how my preferable way is that they're drawn, that I draw them, and especially for these big puffy ribbons like this. So in this case, you would have the top of the loop, the bottom of the loop. Oops, where's the bottom of the loop? The bottom of the loop for each side, and then also the middle of the ribbon. Where's the middle of the ribbon?
Did I call it like knot or something?
Oh yeah, you did. The knot, which I feel like should go over the under one like that, but that's just me.
No, that's correct.
Okay, and then both of the tails I would usually put at the bottom as well, or at least I guess maybe they're over the bottom part like that. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, whatever works. But technically it should be over, but I guess you would hide, then it hides the loop, the 3D aspect of the bottom loop.
Yeah, at least in this drawing, yeah. Yeah. So you use the knot in the middle to hide the, ends of all your pieces here. So, the tails and the bottom part of the ribbon, etc., etc. My brain's spinning. So I noted that this over part here was actually underneath the under part, which looks correct, and I guess technically I could rig it fine, but it is kind of strange. It's kind of a strange.
I can see how it would be difficult to rig it with that placement, because right now we have the over loop, which is like one big piece, and then I put the under loop on a layer over it. So
I mean, I guess actually I could rig it like this just fine, honestly. Actually, if anything, this might even make it a little bit easier for me, because I can show the underside of the ribbon a lot easier. Which is almost impossible for me to explain why or how it is sitting here in Photoshop. But
so how would it normally work for you?
Normally I would do it exactly the same way you did this top part.
Oh, okay.
Where it's got the under and the over.
Why did I not do that for the bottom?
I don't know. It honestly, you know what? It honestly works just fine.
Okay.
Honestly, now that I'm looking at it, that's actually completely valid. And in a lot of ways makes my job easier.
Interesting.
Well, I'll show you one day when we get to Latitude.
yes, one day. One very distant day.
Is there anything else about the ribbons? I don't know what else to say about them.
No, I think and then so you're gonna be able to make the tails move independently, and then the
yeah,
ribbons.
I guess I should note that the reason we separate everything is that it can all be bouncy.
Yes.
In a fun way.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the only reason.
For the sake of cuteness.
Yes, it's all for the sake of cuteness. Okay, now we're getting to the really technical stuff, which is this stuff. So this is the front band of the hat.
Yes.
We need some context for this, so let's unhide a bunch of stuff. Hat inside. Okay, interesting. Hat. Okay. Okay, back of the... Okay.
This is my Jafar costume.
So hat should definitely be in the very back, first of all.
Yes, that would make sense because it also goes in the back of her head.
Yes.
Because it's like a balloon hat, so
yes.
I just put it in the wrong layer, yeah.
Hat inside is fine because that's just there for when the hat flies off. So that's great. Hair flicks, we're not going to talk about that right a second. Mouth, okay. Mope. Eyes, we'll get to in a minute. Okay, so regarding the hat, there is a little bit of a problem, I think. Okay. I mean, I guess technically this is a design decision, but in my head, this is not how the hat looks, so maybe it's a correction needed on my part. Okay. If you look down, would this band just get really big? Does it just cover the whole top of the head? Or is it like a beret?
It's like a beret. Wait, hold on. I see. Okay, here's an interesting thing I learned about Live 2D is it really makes you think of your character in a three-dimensional sense, which I said earlier that you have to as an illustrator, but this is like next level. This is like almost 3D sculpting. You know, when you Google balloon hat, you get an entirely different thing, which is like balloon animal hats.
Oh my gosh. I can do balloon animals.
I'm trying to find an example. I can't really picture it either.
I'm imagining that it's just like a 1-inch band all around the base of the hat.
Yes, it's like a hard band. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Wow, okay. Okay. So last time I brought up this character from a Korean golf game called Pangya, and so I'm gonna lower your screen so everyone can see my screen. So if you can see that, I remembered her name this time. So if you look at like, of course I can't find a big image. I guess this is okay. Of course I can't find a good image. So do you see like how this works on the right side? There's like a band, and then there's like a big old poofy beret. Oh, here, like this.
Yeah.
Does that help? Does that help you visualize?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All of that to say that we are missing a piece here, which I tried to explain from chat and was absolutely unable to last stream.
Yes.
But I'm finally here to just do it in person. So
thank you.
I will it's actually quite easy for me to illustrate how this would work in Live 3D, which is great. And what would happen is let me just quickly simulate this very quickly. Oh, I just realized something I should probably mention. I'll do that in a minute.
Oh, sorry, real quick. So someone said that, oh, Belindra's hat's gonna fly off. Yeah, let me show you guys what that looks like because it's kind of a thing for her. Like she's a very bouncy, jumpy character, so her hat is like always flying off her head. Let me see if this one. Nope, this one doesn't match. Of course. But I typically like to draw her bouncing, and she's always like holding onto her hat, I guess. This one's not really a great illustration of it, but you have to imagine like the cap flying off if she were not holding onto her hat. Does that make sense? You can kind of visualize it, right? If I were to say something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's kind of I think that's kind of like a little special thing that makes her her is that she's so bouncy and her hat's flying off all the time because she's a spaz, and we love spazzes on the internet.
That's wonderful movement information for me for the rigging, by the way. Make her as bouncy as possible.
Yes, she's like, I guess you can imagine her as like a 16 to 18-year-old. Just a total spaz. Oh, we have a sailor hat. Yeah, I guess it's like a sailor hat in this sense. Here's someone link this for me. Like that. It's kind of like this, but big, like really big. Yeah, okay. So that, all right, moving on.
Okay. I'm about to simulate for you what would happen when she looks down, okay? Oh, wrong. Okay. Do you see that the back of her hair is now showing?
But then the hat would go down with...
Well, the hat is behind the hair.
Oh, okay.
So what you need is another layer behind the band, but in front of the hair that blends into the cap.
Ah, okay. Oh, okay.
I have just done that. And now, when I do it, you can see that it hides the hair.
Wow! Magic! That's so cool. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, so that's what I was trying to explain, and I absolutely failed.
It's okay, words are hard.
It's okay. It's a weird, unless you see it, it's so weird to explain. Like, you need
like,
more hat that's over hair.
Like, what are you talking about? I already have the whole hat. Okay, so what would you... So this is like a pretty unique to live 2D.
Yes. It's a lot of hiding things strategically.
So what would you call this? This would be like more hat. No,
I would call it hat front.
Okay. Front, and I'm gonna call it gray so I don't confuse myself. And then no line art.
However you want to blend it into the back of the hat, that's up to you.
Of hat. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. It's my homework. This is my homework list.
Fantastic. Yes. So that's a big thing. And a very great way to introduce that kind of concept, because that kind of thing does come up sometimes. Technically, there was other ways we could do that, where we can like mask out the back of the hair. But once you have a lot of layers concerning the back of the hair, that's a lot of masking, which you don't need because you can just hide it. And you want to minimize masking because it really starts to add up quickly. So
yeah, and there's also a limit.
Yes, exactly. So yes, because there's a limit in how many items you can mask. You want to minimize it as much as possible.
We got a comment.
Yes.
They're curious to see how the blended in shapes work once shading is applied, and that's a question I guess I didn't really even consider. How does that work when you have the front of the hat shaded in a separate layer from the back of the hat? How do you blend that together?
What do you?
So the gray chunk that you just added, right?
Yes.
Assuming it's on its own layer, you would have to shade that layer independently of the rest of the hat, right?
Yes.
So how would you blend in that shaded piece with the back of the hat, which is also shaded separately?
That's a you question.
No!
I'm so sorry.
So it has to fit in, like, okay, so you know how, like, okay, let me show you my screen.
It's not an easy answer, but this is not an easy problem specifically, by the way.
Okay, rip off her hat. No more hat for you.
No hat, no
Problem
hat.
solved. Okay, so like, so here's an example. I'm gonna just draw a blob. So here's her hat, right? Back hat. And then here's the front hat, which is the same color, but you can't see it, right? So if I clip it and I draw on a shadow, actually, no, let me do this. So I'm going to put both in a layer, and then I'm going to put a clipping mask against this folder. Oops. Clipping, right? So ideally it would look like this, right? But now, if I move this piece...
Well, the clipping mask is still applied.
Right. Okay, so let me duplicate this, and let me just clip it. Oops. Oh, how do I do this? How do I do this? Oh, I'll put these each in a layer. Okay. And then this is in another layer. Oh boy, the layers are happening. Okay, so if I move this layer,
Yes.
like pretend she's bobbing her head up and down, right?
Yes.
Like you see how the shadows are now disconnected?
Yes.
So
it is harmony between the artist and the rigger to try to set it up in such a way that it is possible for the rigger to still sort of match up the lines. So like you can kind of like if you put it back in place,
like here, I guess.
something, you're only moving the bottom line of it. So like if you took a transform tool and then just sort of pulled the bottom up and down, you'll see that the top line is still connected.
Okay, so if I did like that.
The top piece, not the bottom piece.
I see. So if I did
at least hypothetically you can move it, you can warp it in such a way that the lines still connect, hypothetically.
Okay.
It does mean, though, in addition, that you can draw like shading because the hat is like maybe puffy in the front. So you can draw the puffy, you can illustrate the puffiness of the hat coming out of the headband, which would not be possible if you were only doing the back of the head, or at least it would be basically impossible.
If I wanted to have a portion of the hat, like when you say puffy, if I wanted a portion of the hat to like spill over the band in the front, is that another layer? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. You could technically just make it the same layer, but then put it in front of the headband, the hat band.
Okay,
maybe
we can experiment with that.
Yes, that's a tricky question.
Okay, I'm gonna leave a note to just be like maybe puff in front of hat.
Yeah, I'd have to actually play around in Light 2D to answer that question properly, because when she turns her head to the side, I need to figure out how that would look. But the short answer is probably another layer.
Okay. We got an Ubu redeem a couple minutes ago. But you don't have to do it. I feel bad forcing you to do it, but I will do it for a minute. So I said I was going to do it later, and now chat's bringing it up again. All right. I will have 1 minute up. Okay, so
we finished the hat. Hat's done. We know everything there is to know about the hat, maybe. We now have the head, which is great. Head looking great. Note about the head is that it should end behind the bangs. I don't care how big the actual head is. It should end behind the bangs, because that's how we're gonna cover it up. So this looks great.
Okay.
Except
okay.
nose is its own layer, looking good. Head is its own layer. Ears are its own layer. Fantastic. What is this? Nothing. It's nothing. Okay. I will note as a general rule, you always want the line art of the head to be a separate layer than the color of the head. And in addition to that rule, let's say you want just like a permanent slight little blush on the head, right? Yeah. Just like just some nice cute ooh, like she just always has that blush, right? That's awful. Okay. Do not bake this into the head color layer.
Oh yes.
Put this as its own layer and then just do a clipping mask.
Actually, you can pull that blush layer I had.
Yes, that's top. Also a good. There we go. Exactly, just like that. So the coloring of the head is now its own layer. I will say that you put the shading of the nose on the same layer, which needs to be on a separate layer.
It's like a blush over the nose.
It needs to be on its own layer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. because the nose moves separately from the rest of the face.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go, just like that. And I stated as a general rule that every single color on the skin of the face should be its own layer, which is kind of exactly what I was mentioning with the blush of the nose.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of artists add like let me grab the color. Add like a oh, that's a poop color. That's not what I was going for. Okay, this is close enough. Add like a, let's say like a shadow here or something, or a highlight or something. Still needs to be its own layer, because as soon as you turn the head, it's gonna look weird.
But that goes with the entire shading of the face, right?
It does, but it still needs to be its own layer.
What about the shading on the rest of the face? Like around the eyes, for example, like the eyelids or the nose, like every part of the shading be on a separate layer?
Yes, because all of those are individual elements that belong to their respective facial features. So, yeah, eyelids, its own layer. Even the shading of the eyelids can be with the eyelids, but the eyelid is its own layer.
So the shading of the eyelids needs to be different layer from the shading on the chin and the shading on the nose.
Yes.
They'll all have to be separate.
Well,
okay.
Yes. The answer is yes. And I will.
Complicated.
It is complicated. I mean, that's a great segue to the eyes. So let's talk about the eyes a little bit, okay? Yes, perfect. So the eyelid is its own layer. So if the eyelid had shading, that shading would have to be with the eyelid. The shading doesn't need to be separate from the eyelid line art, but all of the eyelid needs to be the same layer. Because the eyelid will move when the character blinks. That is the wrong. Why did you do this to me? Okay, like when the character blinks, the eyelid will move. Okay,
yeah, right.
If the shading doesn't move with it, that'd be very odd. Let's see. Eyeball. Oh, this is just the shine.
I think you have to open the folder.
Oh, okay. There it is. Okay.
Yes. Cursed.
Oh my God, Belindra, you look beautiful today.
This is me with no makeup.
Okay. So, this is great. We have the base color, we have the stuff that goes on top of it, we have each color, and I would say that you would keep these all their own layer. A lot of the stuff that we've been looking at, you will collapse the group down into a singular layer, like when we were talking about the bangs and stuff. These are actually multiple layers, because it was like the line art, the color, the shading and stuff like that. And then you would just merge group, and then it would be its own layer. Okay. That's true for most things. That is not true for the eyes, because the eyes are the windows to the soul, and the soul needs to be beautiful and bouncy.
It's true.
So,
it's true.
Pretty much every single part of the eye should be its own layer in the final version.
Yeah.
For the eyeball and in fact for the eyelashes. So let's talk about the eyelashes.
This is kind of like the ribbon, right? It's like you want to show dimension. So like when she turns her head, like the center of the eyes and the shine of the eyes will like move independently.
That's that's a frequent technique. Can't say that everyone does that, but yeah.
If you want to look anime as hell, then yes.
Yeah. Okay, so fun thing about the eyes, all the lashes need to be their own layers. So because yes, you've done great, perfectly. The lower lashes, because they're so small here, we can just kind of get away with them all being in one layer. That's not that bad. But then, absolutely perfectly, you have separated each eyelash into its own layer. And then, quite importantly, the part that comes around the side of the eye also needs to be its own layer, because when the eyes close, like let's say this was just her happy face, there's no side there, right?
Yeah.
So that's why.
I see.
That's why. Sorry, I'm banning someone. I keep hitting bots in my channel. Okay. Yes. So that is why that is the case.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah. Doot. Okay. Boop. It's all perfect though. That's all exactly perfect. And then
So that's the reason why you don't have the side lash.
Yes.
I didn't know why. I was just like, okay,
I just
I'll
told
do
you
it.
stuff and you're like, okay. Sorry, I keep sipping from my McDonald's Coca-Cola. Okay. Eye white, also known as sclera. I call it eye white. I have gotten model files where they call it a sclera, and I'm like, oh yeah, it is called that.
Glare? Glera?
Sclera.
Is that the medical term?
I think so, yeah. I think people know it because if you get like cosplay contacts and stuff, and you get scleras, it covers your eye, so it just looks like you have white eyes. It's really weird. Anyways, so this is perfectly correct. The eye white has its own color, its own layer. If you were so inclined, you might also have a like shadow. One second, like shadow, like over the eye, like that. A lot of people do. You could have that as part of the eye white, or you could have that over the eyeball. Oops. Whoop, 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 whoop,
So it'd be a separate layer still.
It'd still be a separate layer. Well, I mean, so it actually doesn't have to be a separate layer if it's part of the eye white.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't. It can be. Doesn't have to be because the eye white is just a color, so it's pretty easy to mess around with. But yeah, so that's all perfect. Is there any questions about the eyes?
At this time, I don't have any questions, but if I were to give her makeup, theoretically, like eye shadow, how would you go about doing that? Because it's like, I can't just draw above her eyelashes, because if she closes her eyes, then there's gonna be like a chunk missing, right? There's gonna be an eye-shaped void.
Yeah, so do you mean like kind of like this?
Yeah.
So personally, if I got a model like this and I rigged it, I would just have the eyeshadow move with the eyelash. If you were talking about something that covers the whole eyelid, it would definitely be a more complicated question, because then when you hide the eye, you'd have to have it like come all the way down, and I think it looks a little strange, to be honest. If you have like the whole eyelid shaded, but obviously that's an artistic choice. Yeah, that's also reality, but it's also just an artistic choice. So personally, I have bad taste.
I guess makeup just doesn't translate well in anime.
It really doesn't, though. It really doesn't. But if it's just something like this on like the side of the eye or something that would follow the eyelid as it closed, that's totally easy and doable. I had a model that I rigged recently like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So far, so good. And then also chat, again, if you have any questions regarding any step of the rigging and or illustration process, please ask, because we're here to all learn at the same time.
Yes. We are learning, where our brains are expanding at a rapid pace. I should really see a doctor about that.
So we went over the bangs, we went over the sideburns, we went over the hat, we went over the eyes, we went over the
head,
nose and cheeks and stuff. Okay, what's next?
Let's talk about the hair. Let's talk about the back of the head.
I really struggled here.
Technically speaking, I was thinking about it, and actually, technically speaking, you could absolutely just make the back of the hair all one piece with the hair flicks, because here's how it works. The way it works is I literally just go like this. So,
well, I did it. I separated it because I wanted the hair to bounce independently.
Yes. So that's another thing, of course. But almost 100% of the time, a model file will have the whole back of the hair in one piece. very rarely, unless it's like really long and it has like all kinds of like hair flicky things coming out, and then they'll separate it out. But especially for short hair like this, usually they'll just have it as one piece. Because the way it works is that the head moves like this, and then that's how you make it look 3D. And of course, technically that actually would fit with your hairstyle because the hair's always flicked out. But of course, if we want extra bounciness with these with the hair flicks, you know, we probably want them to be separated out. Let me grab it. So it's like, yeah, which is totally understandable and absolutely fantastic. I'll have to do some trickiness with the line art, but that's totally fine as well.
I mean, the good thing about having like really transparent communication with your rigger is that if you're like, hey, get rid of this line, I'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like very, very quick back and forth.
yeah. It's absolutely always best if your rigger and your artist are talking to each other from the beginning. That is very rarely the case, unfortunately. I have found that my ability to take a model into Photoshop and cut it up myself is a fantastic asset. So if you are a rigger and you want to be able to do really complex things and not be held back by the art, it's absolutely a skill you need to learn. Because quite frankly, it's kind of doubtful that if you ask a client, hey, you need to go pay someone to cut it up. Well, first of all, you the rigger, have to write down a huge document of how they should cut it up. Which is actually kind of true anyways. If you're working directly with an artist, you probably have to do that. All the rigging notes, all the cutting notes, I should say.
So the rigger has to provide the notes to the cutter? Yeah,
probably. Yeah, usually.
Yeah. Okay. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. I don't know. To be honest, I've never worked with a cutter because I was doing my own cutting. But yeah, that's probably the case.
That makes sense though.
Yeah, if you work with like a really famous group like Iron Vertex or something, you'll see they have a lot of tweets about cutting notes and how annoying they are, and a 10-page PDF about to the artist or to the cutter about how they should be cutting this up. Because the Iron Vertex frequently works directly with the artist because they have that kind of power.
Basically engineering design docs.
Yeah, basically. If it were me, I would just take the model and draw all over it, and I think that'd be the easiest way to do it. I don't know how they do it, but that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Be nice to your rigger.
Oh. They're probably pretty crabby in the first place, so I don't know. It's fine. You can be mean to your rigger.
No. All right, cool. Yeah, the immediate feedback is very helpful. But this is the whole point of like this lesson, right? Is like we get really, really in depth with like what a rigger thinks like, so that the artist can make their job easier, and like, and the less your rigger struggles, the more they can do with your model. Because if they're fidgeting with it for like a few days and they're like, I can't do this.
There's actually been some drama recently in the VTubing community where an artist didn't really know how to cut up a model correctly, and I guess they had done multiple models, but the riggers had just never given them any feedback like, hey, this is not usable. And so they finally got to a client where the rigger said like, I can't rig this, which is, again, like if you had the ability to cut, you wouldn't have had this, you wouldn't ever say I can't rig this. Or if you were told that, you could always tell the client like, you need to go get this cut. But personally, if I get a model and I see some very major problems with it, I do tell the client to go tell the artist like, hey, you should probably tell them that blah, 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 blah. You aren't naming your your layers, or you didn't separate left from right, or something really major, you know?
Yeah,
very
that makes
fundamental.
Sense, though. Yeah.
So there was actually some really big drama recently, some miscommunication and stuff between rigger and artist, which was unfortunate, but not my problem.
So I guess real quick, we'll take a little segue. if you flattened my image, how would you go about cutting it? Like, like, can you cut out something complicated like the ear, which is in the middle of like everything?
Let's cut out the ear. Oop! I just turned. Okay.
And also, my color spilled out of the line art. Shh, we don't look
That's
at
part
that
of the cutting, baby. Don't worry about it. Okay, so let me flatten it, and I'll show you. Merge group. Okay.
Imagine knowing how to rig but not how to Photoshop. Those are two different
They are two different things.
They?
Most riggers don't know how to Photoshop.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think a lot of riggers don't even have Photoshop, which I'm like, what? Okay. So let's say I wanted to separate this ear so that it could have a little bit of 3D to it. So you can move the middle of the ear and the outside of the ear a little bit, right? And, you know, in general, I just sort of wanted to clean it up a bit. So first of all, I would clean up the edges a little bit. And I literally just have my Wacom pen here because I think that this level of cutting, you really do need to just, you know, sort of have some ability to draw. You can do it without it. So I'm not saying that I gained these skills from scanlation redrawing.
I know people who have bought a Cintiq, or not a Cintiq, but a drawing tablet just for that purpose, is to like white out the speech bubbles so they can put in the translation part. It's amazing. Also, I find it interesting you pronounce it Wacom instead
That's
of
technically the correct version. I actually say Wacom.
Oh, you're trying to be correct.
I don't know.
Like
I go back. I flip flop. So in this case, so I just duplicated the layer after I made that change, and that's usually how I do it. Is I just keep duplicating the unaltered layer. And so first I would want to separate this front part of the ear, the outer ear out. Oops, nope. So I just grab my eraser and I just erase it. that's the easy part.
That's so crazy because it's like you have to be so precise next to the line art. That's the part that scares me. It's like, especially if you work with someone who has very, very thin line art. Like I have thick line art, so it's a little bit easier. But if you had like needle width line art, I can see how it would get kind of painful to do.
Yeah, I find it very therapeutic. To be honest, most of the effort in cutting comes from recreating the rendering that the artist has done. So by the way, here's the inner part of the ear I'm doing. I'm just erasing the sides so that they don't spill out from behind the ear. And then quite easily, because there's no rendering on this, I just fill in the color. So now it looks exactly the same as we started, but it's cut up into two pieces.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so kind of you like in an actual one, it might look like this.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
So that's just a standard eraser and pen tool.
Yes, I usually two other tools. I just really only there's 3 or 4 tools you need, which is eraser, pen, color picker. So for instance, let's say in actuality, the rendering looked like it was super blended or something like that. There's 2 ways you could recreate that, because let's say I needed to fill in all of that stuff that I just erased.
Yeah.
So there's 2 ways I can do that. I can grab the pen tool and I can just constantly grab the color and spread it out. This is all just obviously personal preference. It doesn't have to, this is just how I do it.
Right. Oh my god.
And then I take my smudge tool and I recreate the gradient.
Like reverse engineering a drawing and recreating it.
Yes. The other way to do it, which is just as valid and what I used to do before I had a pen tablet, is you use the stamp tool. Which is a lot more straightforward, but almost impossible depending on how much area you have or how it's laid out and just a lot of factors. So yeah, pen tool is obviously preferable, but not always possible.
Yeah.
Or stamp tool.
Thanks for that mini demo.
Yes.
So this is how you make a rigger sad. So you should just separate out into layers the best you can, I think.
Yeah.
At least having the line art and the color on its own layer would save a lot of headache.
It would, but I also think that if you did that for every layer, the rigger would get mad at you. Because they would say, you didn't merge your layers. Like, this is disgusting. Like, a lot of riggers would get mad at you for seeing that. So it's kind of a weird line. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a weird line that you have to balance.
Finicky.
It is finicky. I agree. I wouldn't mind. Because I always have to reorganize all the layers anyways. So I don't care. But I do know, I think that the vast majority of riggers would be like, they were so lazy. They didn't even merge their layers. Like, oh, this is disgusting, which is just so stupid to me.
Yeah, so I guess big asterisk disclaimer.
Yes.
Talk to your rigger and see how they work and see their preferences, and then do your best to work with them.
If you were to err on the side of caution, you would just merge your layers as you see fit. And by as you see fit, I mean, you know, the neck is one layer, the back of the head is one layer, each bang is one layer, etc.
Because you can always merge, but you can't separate.
So hard to separate. You have to fake it.
So if anything, you can always keep like your own file with all the layers broken out, and then just be like, yes, absolutely, would be fantastic. Hey, your layering had some issues, so I redrew the entire face. It's my OC now. I'm the artist.
Oh, you say that, but I've had to redraw entire models. And they look the same, but they're just like 100 times more rezzed up. Okay. So we talked about the hair. I mean, oh, I didn't mention the hair, actually. We didn't actually talk about the hair as much as I wanted to. Back of the head. Okay. One thing that we didn't talk about, which is quite important, but very, very difficult to explain, is that you need to draw the top of the head. So,
yes.
So I have it on the wrong side. There we go.
What is that called? Not the hairline.
The part.
It's like, the part.
I can't draw a part. I can't draw a part. Let's just say it's a hair like that. Like it's
wait. Can you do it on the side where the dip is? So like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to get a good visual. Okay.
Something like that.
Harry Potter mark.
Yes, I actually have a scar like that.
Ooh.
I fainted and hit my head on a desk.
That explains your kooky antics.
My kooky attitude. Okay, so if you wanted to be very kind, if you wanted to be super kind, sorry, just the mic, then you would have this as a separate layer, and you would clipping mask it to the top of the head. That would be very wonderful, and I think your rigger would very much appreciate that.
And why is that?
Because then you could just go like this. Oh, no, wrong one. No. Okay. Like this.
Okay.
So it's
that's to simulate the head looking up and down.
Exactly. Like this. So,
here comes more magic. Well, that doesn't...
it obviously looks really strange, but this is how it would work, essentially.
Wait, can you put her bangs on?
Oh.
Full immersion.
Obviously, my
Whoa, that's so cool! I'm easily amused. That's amazing.
My part is pretty bad, but I think maybe you get the idea.
Yeah, I can see it. I can visualize it. Very cool.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just one of those things that's like the Live 2D tricks that it's like, it's all just the back of the head, but you can simulate it or like make it, give the illusion that it's the top of the head all of a sudden because of that part.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd even better, honestly, but this is a big ask, is if this were a multiply layer, because then it wouldn't interfere with the liner. But alternatively, you can give the back of the hair line as a separate thing. Now we're starting to get into shades of gray, though, you know, as far as what the rigger's gonna understand and be able to use. But yes, I would say that generally speaking, if you gave the back of their this top of the head part as its own layer, most riggers would understand. Oh, yes, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Is it only that line, like the line art, or is it also include like the shading for that?
Shading and stuff, yeah. But it's not like, don't include like the base color. It's just like the extras.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah. It's pretty weird. Yeah. I think did I
No, it makes sense because the base of the head, or the back of the head, quote unquote, is already on a base layer, and then you're saying anything above that, the parts, the shadows, the lights, all need to be on a separate layer anyway. It's just more helpful if it's clipped to that base piece, right?
Sorry, repeat what you just said. I got really distracted.
So the back of the head is already one solid shape.
Yes.
But all the shading and the lights and that part will all be on a separate layer anyway.
When you say
right?
shading and lights, what do you mean? The shading lights for the part?
No, for the whole.
Those would normally be on the same layer as the back of the head. So the shadows, for 90% of layers are the same layer.
Right. Oh, I meant in the way that I deliver it to you.
Still
would be split into layers, wouldn't it? Or no?
No.
Oh, okay. You want me to combine
in fact, actually,
everything.
I guess I should mention this. Let's hide this stuff. Where's the head? Come on, get out of here. What? Oh, there it is. Okay. So what we're talking about right now, I'm assuming, is there we go. Head, back of head. Okay. I'm gonna create a new layer and clip it to it. What we're talking about right now is just the shading of the back of the head, right? Ooh, let me set this to multiply.
Right.
There we go. This is the same layer as the back of the head.
Oh, okay.
But quite importantly, the shading should end maybe about halfway up the head, maybe even less, like this. And it shouldn't go to the edges or even close to the edges, because here it is. It's okay. I need to skip this song because this song is driving me into flashbacks. Sorry. A song that I played at my violin recital came on, and I started freaking out.
Teacher, is that you? I swear I've been practicing.
Teacher, I'm so sorry. Okay. I've been practicing 13 years or something. Okay, so
Rip.
the rigger needs enough space. I'm gonna hide the hair flicks. The rigger needs enough space that they could sort of stretch this side of the head to the rest of the head. Oh, this is a weird concept. Can I warp? Can I liquefy?
Let's. If it's too complicated now, we can do it next time, because I'm not going to be working on the head until later, until after the body anyway.
Fair
like
enough.
Shading wise and stuff like that.
General rule that still though is that for the shading for the back of the head, like as if like, oh, this is the hair I can see through the back of the head. This is about as much as you want here. Pretty much just to like cover, go to the just before the sides of the head, and only like up to the forehead.
Okay.
Yeah, about that much.
Interesting. Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's a really weird specific thing, as most of these things are. We didn't cover the mouth. We didn't cover the mouth.
Oh yes, I didn't do the mouth as you told me to. So I just drew it in because I'm supposed to have like the skin on it and stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't have the skin. So I mean, just as a refresher, or if anyone is curious, I'm just gonna quickly go over how the mouth works now that I can just draw it. So the way it works is you would start with a color. This is the back of the mouth. This is like the throat, essentially, the inside of the cheeks and stuff. Then you have the tongue, like that, which is clipped to the back of the mouth. Don't worry about the back of the mouth being a certain shape or whatever, because it's just a color. The rigger can make it whatever shape they want, so it can just be a circle or something. That's totally fine. And obviously for the tongue, you're probably only going to see the top of the tongue, so just make sure it, you know, covers everything, I guess. Then you would do the teeth, which of course was a long discussion.
Yes.
Which is not even settled. If you want to be really fancy about it, you would have, you know, the center, the left back, and the right back as 3 different layers. And for the top and bottom. And then finally, you have the actual, like, lips. Let me get a skin color here.
Say ah. Wait, what about the top teeth?
It would be the same as the bottom teeth.
So you just mirror it?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it's just the same structure.
Okay.
I don't kick it. Why didn't I just grab a skin color? Okay, whatever. Okay, so for the mouth, the lips. Sorry, the lips, the lips. Oops, that's not right. Okay, there we go.
Hey, does your live 2D model have teeth? It does, right?
It does, yeah. They're bad. They're not like this. Do what I say and not what I do. So, quite interestingly, and this is again another very live 2D centric thing. This is what a lip looks like. Let me hide everything else. This is what a lip looks like. You have the skin, which has to match the hair. Okay, this is actually kind of interesting, actually. You pretty much you kind of don't have a ton of wiggle room with making the head skin flat. Well, actually, no. Actually, I lied, because as long as you put all of the colors that aren't the base color of the skin on their own layers, then it's not a problem. But let's say you drew the face, and for some reason or other, you had a gradient that went from the left side of the head to the right side of the head. You have screwed your rigger over, because there's no way they can make the mouth look correct, because this skin flap won't match the gradient.
No way it can match it? What if it was an even gradient?
Well, because the this mouth flap is going to be it's going to be stretching and squashing and going like this all over the place, so there's no way for it to match it.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, this is what a lip looks like, and you can merge these 2 layers. I saw a guide the other day that was they wanted it separate. I think that's a little stupid. I think there's no reason to do that. And then
different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks. Most people combine them, and that's totally perfectly fine. And the bottom and the top lip, they work exactly the same way. Obviously, maybe you would want to, you know, match them up. But I will note that personally, I prefer that this line is perfectly straight, but it doesn't have to be. Does this mean you can't have any gradients? It means you can't. It means that you have to put them on its own layer. My rule, I'll go back to it really quickly. It's actually kind of a good example.
My yellow lipstick.
Let's say, let me bring this into the head layer. Let's say
so that's a good example, because the nose shadows.
Shading. Let's say that this blush and the nose shading were actually part of the skin tone. Actually, you put them all in the same layer as the skin tone of the head. Now the skin flaps of the lips will cover up that shading. It will look very strange. Yeah. So you have to put all the shading on the head on a different layer. You can kind of get away with one thing, which is, and artists will frequently do this, and you can get away with this, which is one second, where's my gradient tool? They will frequently do this, like oops, I did not use an obvious enough color. Oh well, I'm on the wrong layer. That would also help. Oops! Oh god!
He gave me a bruise on my forehead. How dare you?
They will frequently do this, like a gradient from the top of the head. That's okay. You can get away with that, because obviously the lips are all the way down here. So like, you know, it's not really gonna interfere, but you have to make sure that it stops like way before the lips.
Is the lips the only thing you have to avoid? Like, what about eyes?
Eyes are totally fine because the eyes just go over all of this stuff. Might be a problem if you have some like if you did something special with the nose and had the nose had its own skin, it would probably be a problem. Which is absolutely something you can do. Like if you have like a wide nose, yeah, that might absolutely be a problem. So that'd be its own thing. Anyways,
so question then. So you're saying like as long as the shadows are on a separate layer or the blush is on a separate layer, it's fine. So does that mean the blush and the shadows like go over? It's like at the top of everything, right? So that way, it's applied to those lips.
For instance, I can just now the aforementioned blush is now over the mouth lips, just like how we mentioned. Yeah. So that's why I always say every new color on the face should be its own layer. That's why I always say that.
I hope we answered your question, Giant Roboto. Ask if you have any other questions, please let us know.
Yeah. Questions welcome. Characters welcome. Anyways. That's it. I mentioned I prefer this to be in a straight line. That's because curves look weird. It makes it problematic when you try to curve it the other way in Live 2D. It starts looking really weird. This is straight enough. This is fine. Probably
really
fine. Yeah, this is probably
You're making me nervous.
well, actually, maybe this curve here is not great.
Okay, I can straighten it.
Yeah. Almost no artists do that, but I wish they did. Almost no artists just give you a straight line. They usually give you the cat mouth, and I'm like, okay, thanks, guys.
So how would you? So like you had the two lips like mirrored, right, on top of each other. Is the reason why you want a straight line is so you can do the flappy mouth thing, right?
The reason I want a straight line is so that
like how would it warp into a smile or a grin or a cat mouth or something?
How?
Like, what if your default mouth is a cat mouth?
If your default mouth is a cat mouth, then I can take a straight line and turn it into a cat mouth. But if you give me a cat mouth, then as soon as I try to make an O shape, there's gonna be some weirdness. It's gonna be a lot more inefficient, like literally on a computational level, for me to turn your cat mouth into like a circle. Because because of the sharp point and the curves that go the opposite direction, I have to add more points in the mouth to try to literally like break them, break the curves to go the other way.
Okay, I see. So does that mean you would take the straight line and turn it into an O?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Whatever mouth you give me, I take it and I literally like bend it like steel until it's in the shape that I want it to be.
Oh, smile, darn you. It says, feels like vector art. Every color is its own shape. It's like converting a linear curve to a complex curve versus converting complex curve to another complex.
Yes, that is it. Yeah.
I can see that. I can visualize that. Yeah. It's easier to work with a neutral shape.
Yes. That's basically it.
Okay.
Now the client will look at it and be like, why does it look like I hate this mouth? This sucks. This is stupid. Sorry, client.
Well, so, the thing you can do is give a reference.
Exactly.
Right?
You can just draw a nice looking mouth over that mouth, which is
so give them a straight line to work with, but also give them reference of like, here's what she should look like if she smiles, so she can kind of just like, it's like tracing paper, right? You can just like trace the shape into
yeah. It is honestly perfectly fine to just hide. Usually what you do is you hide all of that weird mouth stuff that I was just showing you, and then you'll just draw a cute mouth that the client will look at and be like, oh my god, that's so cute. But you know, that's not the thing that we're gonna rig. That's already all out there and done and hidden. But the client's like, oh my god, that's so cute. I love the cat mouth.
That's what you paste on Twitter, but then you have to give all that nightmare straight lines, scary circles to
because
your
I
rigger.
should know, it is absolutely a thing that before the VTuber will debut, they will use a literal like basically a screenshot of the model as like a PNG, so they can stream with a picture, basically.
Ooh.
So it's good practice. Oh, this is a general note. It's good practice that if you are a VTuber artist, you should give them PNGs that look really pretty. Ideally, like maybe a couple emotions, but ideally at least just closed mouth, open mouth.
Mm-hmm. But if you're rigging it yourself, like you don't need that reference.
Yeah,
so
yeah, probably
this is because
not.
You're working with a rigger. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
that's not even necessarily a reference. That is just for the. I mean, it can be used as a reference, but that's pretty much just for the client to be able to like have an image of themselves on screen. If they're gonna stream as a PNG tuber.
Yeah.
So that's really good practice. Is pretty much every model that I've gotten from people, they usually have that, which is just part of the deliverable is you save out a PNG of the model that has a nice looking face on it and everything. Despite what the model itself looks like.
Can you have a question, Lua? Can you compound multiple deforms, i.e., complex to linear to complex? Is that a?
It doesn't make sense in live city.
Is that in English?
It doesn't make sense in live city context.
Okay.
Because live city, literally all it is pixels that you move around.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like the free transform tool, basically.
Yeah,
in Photoshop, it just creates a grid.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that you do in live city you could do in Photoshop with just free transform and warp. Sorry, another song that I played in a recital once that I need to skip.
Okay. We have a quick question asking what a PNG tuber is, and I guess I can answer that question. It's basically what you see on my screen. It's a flat PNG image. For this we have like
Belinda is a PNG tuber.
Yes, I am a PNG tuber because I just go from one flat image to another flat image, which is idle. I have one image, and then speaking, I have one image. So for PNG tubers, that's typically what they do. They have like an idle image, which is their mouth closed. Sometimes it's a little bit dimmed, and then when they speak, they have a different facial expression, like a speaking facial expression. And there's different animation tools for that, or there's different tools for that. There's a Discord website plugin thing that a lot of people use. It's called Discord Reactive Images, and the other one I use is called VEADO Tube, and you basically just pick an idle image and a speaking image. And for me, you can even set GIFs with the VEAD Tube program. So I have a idle motion where she's just mouth shut doodling, and then she has a speaking motion which is mouth open and doodling. So yeah, those are your options for PNG. It's a great entryway to if you don't want to go dive straight into live 2D. It's like a good step into streaming to see like if that fits. And then it's kind of like me, where I started as a PNG tuber, and it's like, okay, maybe it's time to add a little bit more oomph into the stream and make her alive. Is GIF tuber a term? I don't think so. That would be too complicated. Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? I just want a picture of a good dang hot dog. I'm sorry, I don't have that. Imagine hooking up face tracking and you have different frame per each trigger.
God. I think there's VTubers who have done that kind of stuff. It's ridiculous. I mean, to
People
be fair,
get really into it.
my South Park VTuber's pretty darn close to that.
That's because you're an idol god, streaming god. I have half my fingers on a keyboard for drawing, so I don't know if I can do double duty on that.
Okay. Have we covered it all?
I think so. You want to take a quick, like 30-second break because you've been speaking for an hour and a half. Yeah, so I guess it's a good segue. I'll let Lua catch her breath because she's been speaking for a long time. Yeah, we gotta hydrate, redeem, so we got to take a sip of water. Yay.
Hola, Kaguchi.
Yes, Lua is a genius. And we got a posture check, stretch break. Okay, so I guess just a quick segue. If anyone is new here, I'm Belinda. I do the illustration. I'm doing the illustration portion of this live 2D character. This character is it's gonna be that little character on the bottom left. And then Lua on the right is my rigger. So she's the one that's helping break down the process of what kind of deliverables a rigger would prefer. Of course, that's depending on your rigger, but this is like general tips, I guess. And yeah, we have, my socials plug isn't linking, but let me link Lua's at least. And she also is streaming live currently at the same time on YouTube. So if you want to catch her POV, I guess, of the stream, please go there and give her your support. And NewOS says, hi, I'm Nue. Hi, Nue. And also thank you for everybody that has said hello and participated in the stream or in the chat so far. We appreciate your feedback and stuff like that, and just keeping the chat alive.
Yeah, and if you're in my chat, I have a link to Belinda's stream too.
Yeah, and then again, I just want to reiterate, this is like super beginner friendly, and so a lot of us here are really brand new to this, and we're just trying to learn about the experience, and maybe we're interested in live 2D, but we don't know what it involves.
Or just like interested in VTubing in general.
Or is interested in VTubing. Then this is like the perfect place to ask any questions that you have, because we welcome any and all questions. So please don't be shy. And that's my 30-second intermission spiel.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, so like we promised, Penguin Dustin, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And then, okay, so the first part of this stream was essentially to go over what we covered last stream, which was the head. And then I did my homework, which was draw out the head the best of my abilities. I have homework now.
You did a great job.
Thank you. So now we're gonna work on hopefully a less complex area, which is the body, surprisingly enough.
Well,
and that's because
admittedly, it would be less complex if I hadn't bullied you into making a 3/4 turn.
I also realized something. Okay, so there's a VTuber that you guys introduced to me named Subaru, right?
Yeah, Subaru.
What's her full name?
Ozora?
Yeah, Ozora Subaru. So if you want to look her up, she is also kind of what I'm doing, which is her face faces forward, but her body is turned quarter way.
Yes. Although, that said, I intended to rig you that your default was kind of quarter turned. We're just drawing it this way so that we have the maximum efficiency.
But it's like kind of different from a standard, I guess you would say, VTuber that you see who's always facing forward. And I think this fits more in line with how I would like my stream to look anyway. So it's all good in the neighborhood. What I did notice though is that there's a slight perspective on the body that I drew, which is like top down, which I think I need to correct. Is that something that's going to be a problem?
No,
like
that's totally
looks
fine.
Almost as if you're slightly top down, like looking.
I think that's how most VTubers are.
Is it? I thought it was like straight on. Like if you look up Kason is also straight-ish.
Kason is like a 3/4 turn with the face. Yeah.
But the 3/4 turn is like straight on, right? It's not. I don't know how to explain it. But like if you look at the collar, you can tell that it like kind of dips down, or like all the like if you look at her skirt, right? It's like a U shape almost along the curve, the bottom of the skirt.
I think that how you drew it is perfect.
Okay,
I
cool.
don't see any problems with it.
All right, that's your funeral.
Okay, so I won't say it's less complicated. There's one part in particular I'm staring at that's unique to the 3/4 turn and very annoying. But it is definitely less pieces, so that's nice.
I think I also have a color layer for the sketch. I think is it folder 8 or under the ignore. You can turn on
under the ignore folder.
Yeah.
Yes. How fun. Okay.
And then you can make the sketch stuff.
This somehow makes it harder for me to see what's happening.
If you open it up, I guess you can't change the line color.
I guess. Oh,
whatever.
I can do
Make a
something like that.
multiply
Well,
or-
first of all, I think the opacity. Yeah. Okay, that's much better. Yeah, that's fine. Oh yes, there we go. Yes, and I can change the light color. I can just go like this.
Sorry, there's
There
like
we
a
go.
reference like button that just turns the lines blue, so I just use that. Apparently, Kason has a squat transition.
She
That is
does.
amazing.
Kason has the best VTuber model in all of existence, and I will hear nothing else of it. Her rigor is like, oh my god, she's a god. She's so incredible. Himono Sensei, really.
We bow down to you.
She's insane. I maybe mentioned it before, but she's rigged herself doing a 360 before.
Yeah, that's still freaking amazing. I can't even wrap my head how you can do that. Even just looking down and seeing the hair part is like already mind blowing to me.
Chaz, by the way, we're not going off of Subaru's model. Actually, all this was done before Belinda had even seen Subaru's model. It just is coincidence.
It's just a reference for like something that's already been created. I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So, you had started on the collar, but we're gonna ignore that.
Yes.
And let's talk about the neck a little bit. I'm just gonna draw all over this.
I'm gonna.
This is a very
take notes
me
on
heavy,
end.
my POV heavy stream, huh?
Yes, I made you full screen on my screen now.
You don't have to do anything. You're just sitting there. Your
I'm just
brain
like,
expands. So, neck is pretty simple, especially because there's a collar here. Many VTubers have like an exposed base of the neck, and it's a little bit more complicated. But here, because there's a neck and then a collar, it's pretty simple. And
Hold on.
Oh,
Sorry, I have a question.
Oh,
Just in
yes.
general, if I wanted to change outfits in the future,
yes.
would I draw her like not really wearing clothes first, and you just build off of that instead of like doing a pre-made outfit and no body underneath?
So I actually did do that. And my advice is don't worry about the torso at all, because it's so completely different, clothing to clothing. And if I were you, I would draw the full arms without anything on them. And I would draw the full legs up to the hip without anything on them. But the torso is so different every time that you just skip it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So yeah, if you want to in the future have new outfits, if you know that from the start, then yeah, draw up to the shoulder and drop to the hip, and that's kind of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Chat's
So-
giving me booba emotes. I'm gonna fire back. How dare you?
No booba here is a no booba zone.
No booba zone.
Okay, so the neck, we'll just work our way down. Pretty simple. Actually, maybe not. Okay, there is actually an element of this, I guess, because just because the collar goes down a little bit farther than I was looking at it. But so basically, it's like this. You kind of just go up as far as you want. Honestly, the higher the better. You know, you're not gonna. If you go too high, they're not gonna see it. But if you go too short, you're putting the rigger in a bad place.
That's kind of like yeah. So when she like lifts her head and her
Yeah,
chin.
when she looks up, it gives them plenty of room. And then you just do like a smooth curve down here, because then the rigger is going to take this, and for the different like head rotations, free transform, they're gonna take this and they're just gonna rotate it like this. So you need to give them just a nice soft curve at the base of the neck that will transition into the shoulder skin, which will be something like this, and then the neck will go on top. So basically, and then it'll look something like this, and it'll be two different pieces with the shoulder skin and the neck skin. Does that make sense?
You lost me around the collar area. The collar.
Ignoring that the collar exists.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Then just draw like a flesh.
Yeah, you just draw.
Neck
This would be
thing,
like
tube.
this would be the base of the neck and the shoulders, and there'd be like collarbones or whatever, you know. But obviously, you can't see that.
Oh,
here.
okay. So the collar, or okay. So I would draw the
I'm
neck
saying
as one piece.
normally in a lot of models. This is a general thing, not necessarily you right this second.
Okay.
But yeah, there'd be like the skin of the shoulder.
Oh,
You
okay.
might draw that a little bit just because maybe a little bit of the skin shows past the base of the neck. So I'm just putting that out there in general.
Yeah, okay.
And that doesn't include any clothes. That's just the skin.
Yep.
So then separate layer, important. Separate layer. The head shadow.
Okay.
Just something like that. So you see there, this, I'm just going off of the, there was a head shadow here that was already there. I'm just going off of that, and I'm guessing this is probably be about where the chin is, and then I just go up a bit. You don't have to do like the full head or anything, but you know, something like that is good, because then as the head moves, you can move the shadow with it.
Is that different? So this is the under the head shadow, right? This has nothing to do with like the chin or the face.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with the face. This is just, you would actually clip it to the neck, and
okay.
by the way, set it to multiply.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a shadow.
And then just a quick reminder that Live 2D only supports screen and multiply.
Nope, doesn't even support screen.
Oh, not even screen, just multiply and
Just multiply and add.
Oh, that's right, add, not screen. Okay.
Actually, I think the alpha that just released yesterday maybe supports screen, but we're not there yet. I have no idea when that's going to release. Could be half a year from now, could be a year from now. So fingers crossed. I actually don't know that it does. I know it does some weird stuff with screen, but I don't know that it actually supports screen type. Anyways. So yeah, neck done. That's it. Very simple. You can do whatever else we want related to it. But the important parts are you just make it really high up, and you got to keep the head shadow separate, and the base of the neck is also like the collarbone type area is also separate. Next piece. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
Cool.
And the shadow will only cast on the neck, right? It won't cast on like the back of the hair because that's already done separately.
Yeah, only the neck. Only the neck. And maybe the clothing a little bit depending on artistic choice. But yeah, only under the head. Nothing attached to the head.
So far, so good.
Cool. Next, let's talk about the collar. The one you had drawn was pretty, but not correct,
work.
Unfortunately. Yes. Do you know why it doesn't work?
Yes, because it's facing forward.
That's also true, but the thing I'm thinking of is, which is actually fine, by the way, because then it gives me a little bit more room for rotation, but the problem is that you didn't draw the back of the collar as its own layer.
Oh, yeah.
Which goes behind the neck.
Okay.
And then the front of the collar. And then you just have to do some sort of smooth transition between these. And probably you should make each collar side its own layer. Just, you know, left, right, parity, separation. Anytime there's a very distinct left and right to something, you should probably make them two different layers.
What about the underside of the collar? Like the flap of the collar? There's like a part that flips over, right? So is that under part also another layer?
I would prefer it to be another layer, yes.
Okay.
I think that's a good practice.
Yeah.
I think
so
you're thinking with
like
portals.
Overlapping. I got that reference. I'm slightly cultured. Okay. So I guess let me pull up my screen now so that you can see what I'm doing. So I have the collar drawn out kind of in a small diagram. So I have the green and the blue as one separate layer, and then I would have this orange piece as one layer, right?
Yep.
I would have this purple piece as one layer. Now, you mentioned for the back layer, I had to draw a backside, right?
Yeah.
So I think we discussed this briefly in our intro video. But how far would I have to draw this piece in the back?
Not very far at all. Maybe down a little bit more. Maybe.
So like okay, because the collar meets at this point, right?
Yeah.
So anything that's below that.
If we were talking about if this was a physical object in front of us, I'd say an inch. Does that make sense?
So like here, like this.
Yeah, it's fine. Yes, it's probably fine.
Okay.
Since there's gonna be a bunch of skin there, anyways, you know, covering up everything. Really, you could probably get away with just a little bit, but I do what you're showing right now. That's what I do when I draw it. And I think that's generally what people do, is they end up making a circle. It just sort of makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I guess I'm thinking like I'm forgetting about the layering terms. So this green part, like I was worried about this this purple part peeking through this area, but it will never happen.
It will never happen because there's gonna be a bunch of skin there.
Yeah, or there's gonna be like orange, like her shirt collar essentially.
Something,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it goes down like this. So that would always be covered. This is just to ensure that if she were to tip her head forward enough, there would be enough.
Yeah, the collar could come up and show that it exists. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Much.
Sounds good. Collar breakdown.
Collar looks good. I think we've covered everything about the collar.
Okay.
Next, another ribbon. This is just a line ribbon though, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, you can just make each side, like you don't have to do all the complex, like, because there's no loop to explain, to show as 3D. So you can just sort of do this. Oh, I didn't switch my point of view. There we go. I'm just putting different colors on.
Chad is asking how many channel points they have to redeem to get us to play Portal 2 together, and I'm just gonna say it's gonna be a ridiculous amount of points because I don't want to play Portal.
I started playing Portal 2 once when it came out, but I obviously didn't get very far.
I don't have enough brain wrinkles to barely process live 2D.
I'm really bad at puzzle games.
Yeah, like man, you should see me doing some of the puzzles when I play Nier. It's tragic.
I don't even know if this one has a knot, but I just put the knot there for.
Yeah, it's like a little dot.
Yeah, if it's small enough, like don't even have to put it. But yeah, for parity's sake, I threw it on there. Easy. That one's done. Next is the like what's it called, lapel of the vest.
Oh, I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Yes, well, I'm a seamstress, didn't you hear? So I use all the fancy words.
All the technical terms.
All the technical terms. Oh, is your vest French seamed? Oh.
Wow. Ooh la la.
So, when you get down to the torso, and those big pieces, frequently you don't have to separate left and right, but I would say it's not a bad idea too. It doesn't hurt to separate, like for the lapels, it doesn't hurt to separate the lapels with left and right. So you might as well. So basically it's pretty straightforward. It's just the lapel. You just draw the lapel. I don't think there's much complicatedness to that. You know, it's just the lapel. Make it its own layer.
Everything on one layer?
It can be everything on one layer, or you can separate this out into left and right.
Oh, wow. That's the first time I've heard just one layer is okay.
Yeah, no, once you get to the torso, things start to be a little less complicated, yeah.
Magic. Okay, so lapel can be on one layer. So even like the top and the bottom.
Yeah, that's fine.
Flappy thing.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so one layer. Okay. Cool. What about the backside?
You won't see it, right? Because it gets covered up by the collar.
Yeah. Okay.
So no problems there. Next is the vest. So, I'm going to first explain how you would do it for a average VTuber, and then I'm going to explain it for you, because there's some very specific ways that have to do with 1, the 3/4 turn, 2, your art style, and 3, the build of Balindra that make it different.
So customized.
So first, let me just quickly explain how a normal VTuber's torso would work.
Okay.
Depending on the size of the booba, I don't think this would apply to Balindra, but depending on the booba would be their own layers. So you would just sort of blend it in, maybe not like that. Okay, well, it also doesn't help that this is 3/4 turn. So I'm just gonna draw it as a front-facing VTuber. Wow, that's not some. Okay, you know what? There's cousins, not twins. So,
like eyebrows.
Yeah. So you sort of just draw them, like obviously there's clothes, there's clothes here. You just draw them, and then you just sort of fade out back into the chest, back into the torso. But only the boobs themselves are separate. So, like
in this case, it would be the boobas with the clothes on, right?
Yes. Unless you're doing something naughty.
Boy. This is a family program.
So you would find some tricky way to transition the booba back into the rest of the chest. Okay.
So in terms of layering, it would be the lapel on the very top, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then the booba layer.
Then the vest, and then the shirt underneath. Like literally the layers of the clothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So this is kind of similar to how the lip thing is working, right? You have that transition or the.
Yeah. And in a way, yeah.
Okay.
And then separate layer. Let me get a new color. And again, this is a average VTuber, not necessarily Belindra. Okay. So,
I'm average.
What because the 3/4 turn. Then the torso, like down to maybe even the hips. Yeah, down to like the hips. But without the arms, that would be its own. There's a belly button. I don't know if the belly button would be showing, but there's a belly button. Because then, not to be weird about it, but then you can make the booba shake.
We're adults here, right?
Yeah, we're all adults here. It's fine. Clearly, we're adults. Make the booba shake. So, yeah, that is the current meta or standard for drawing torsos. I actually used to not do this. I drew myself with just the boobs attached, and I did some stupid stuff. But this is definitely preferable. And you sort of have to just find a line. Obviously, for Belindra, the line between the arms and the shirt, the torso, is like super defined because they're puffy sleeves. But you might have to get sort of tricky with that if it's not such a clear dividing line between the torso and the shoulder. That's a future problem.
What I can probably do is, like, if her arm moves out of the way, I have to obviously show the blouse underneath, right? So I'd probably have a separate blouse side layer.
Yes, we will get to that in a second.
Yeah, because it's technically like a vest, I guess, is what she's wearing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So I'm done talking about other VTubers.
Okay. Now me.
Now you. Okay. So this is gonna be weird. The weird thing is that I'm going to ask you to make these lines and the shadows and stuff all separate layers so that I can eventually have her turn front facing a little bit.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that is a problem because obviously you don't see a lot of the lines over here. So that's just part of that. But as far as layering, you would draw the here's where like the arm, here's where it would about end, and something like that, and it gets a little. We'll have to hash it out as far as how that side thing works. But oh, and then hide the transition behind the lapel. So it's actually
quick question. Each pinstripe on her vest, it doesn't need to be on a separate layer, right? It's like all the pinstripes.
All the pinstripes can be together, yeah.
Okay, thank goodness.
Yeah. So something like that. And normally you can have the whole normally if you were a front-facing VTuber, that could all be one layer.
But we ain't playing that game.
But we ain't playing that game today. No. So we'll need the shadows and also actually specifically, and this is another interesting part to it, is I'm going to ask you to put this line here on a separate layer so that when you turn, I can adjust it to change the perspective of the drawing. kind of thing.
That line.
Yeah, this line specifically.
Okay.
Or whatever denotes the chest. Whether that's a line and a shadow or just a line or whatever's there. That's gonna be its own layer.
Okay.
Yeah.
The way I see it is like, like her boobas should not be jiggling too much.
No, and they won't. They won't.
Yeah. I don't want them to be like flopping around like individual boobas. Like,
just what is it? Dead or Alive? Is that what? No, not Dead or Alive. Well, yeah, also Dead or Alive. But I was thinking that anime, High School of the Dead. Is that it?
Yes.
Where the bullets go through the boobas.
Yeah, that's gonna be a different stream.
Yeah, that's a different stream. That's the R18 stream. Okay, so then finally, as far as the torso goes, you draw the undershirt, which will probably just be something like this. And I just arbitrarily stopped it down here because it doesn't go. You can't see it down here, so it doesn't need to be down here. So I just sort of stopped drawing it. But you might see it poke around the arm, and you'll see it underneath this lapel. So I drew it there, and that's it to that.
Okay, cool.
Pretty much an amorphous shape.
So to kind of reiterate what was said, so we have the lapel as one layer.
Yeah.
And we have the rest of the vest as one layer.
Usually.
And then the pinstripes will be on one layer.
Yeah.
And then the undershirt, which is like that yellow square, which is everything that's behind her, kind of like the back of the head illusion, will be on one layer.
Yeah. Well, it's not behind her. It's
like sandwiched in between
her skin and the vest.
Yes. Yes. Okay. And then okay, so that's the torso itself. And then again, shading is on a separate layer.
For the vest specifically, yeah.
So do I need to shade the yellow portion and the blue portion separately? Yes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Every layer needs to have its own shading. That is a general truth.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
Oh, and then that booba line needs to be on a separate layer. Yeah. And this is just purely for the sake, or the reason is because my character is 3/4 facing, and we want to create the illusion for facing forward.
Yes, we want the turn of the torso to look nice. That's it. Cool. Does that all make sense?
For torso, yes.
Cool. Let's talk about the arms because they're very simple, relatively speaking.
Yay!
They're much more straightforward. So it's kind of exactly how you would think it works. The whole sleeve is one.
Okay.
And we talked about this before.
Yeah.
This is actually two. Let me grab another color. Like that. And we got the arm. There's actually some. Oh, I forgot about this. I did forget about this. There's actually some complexness to the arm.
You lied.
Depending on the rigger's preference for how they make the arm rotate and / how you want the arm to rotate. So, technically speaking,
right.
yes, because you were like, oh, can we make the arm rotate like this? Yes, we can. The way to achieve that is very strange, very unintuitive. So first of all, general rule, upper arm separate from the forearm.
Let me give chat a visual of what we're talking about, because if we say like rotate arm, it might be like what, but let me find it, because I found a VTuber on Twitter, just for demonstration purpose. Here it is. So I will pull up my screen out of the way. Okay, so for everyone to visualize, this character, she can like, no music. So she can like move her arms up and down kind of thing. So that's what we're going to be working on, is I'm assuming splitting the arm in half.
Yes.
or at the elbow, so that we can create that animation. And unfortunately for me, I learned that this is just a built-in animation. It's not actually tracking her hands.
No.
So, all right, cool. So that's,
I mean,
just
we can
wanted to
do
get that out of the
that,
way for clarity. All right, back to you.
So, how you actually do this varies drastically from rigor to rigor.
Okay.
And I would say, generally speaking, a lot of them will just probably have the whole arm as one piece, and then they'll bend the arm slightly and then just very quickly transition to a completely separate image of the elbow, like, from the elbow to the arm, as if it's like up. Does that make sense? Let me draw it. So this is I didn't transition my video. 1 second. Okay, there we go. So how I've drawn it is just like normal VTuber, arm down, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And actually, you really don't even need the upper arm and forearm separated, really. We'll get into it. But no, I mean, okay, I keep flip-flopping because there's literally 100 ways to do this. So
Okay.
it's really hard for me to even say you should or should not do this or that or whatever.
Let's just pick a lane, and then I'll go into it.
Yes. Okay. Also, person in chat, AAA, parts 1 and 2 are both on my channel. They have the same title of the video. It's lesson 1 and lesson 2. Enjoy, have fun, and come back or stick around in chat and we'll answer your questions.
Yes.
So we have the upper arm. Sorry, it's that same song again. That is like.
You should probably take that out of your playlist.
It's a short playlist is the problem. I recently subscribed to this fantastic site called slip.stream that just has a lot of really great background music. And I really like it. So I just found a random like classics playlist, Beethoven's playlist. Anyways. Yeah. So, okay. So this is just normal down VTuber arm, okay? Then separate to this, you would also draw a version of the forearm that's up, which would look something like this, where this
With
is the elbow and it goes up to here. The only demonstrable difference between this one and this one is the elbow.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and of course you just stop it there because the hand is its own thing. This is how most of them are done, is they just draw 2 separate images.
So you just transition from one image to another?
You just fade from one image to the other. Yeah.
So an elbow just grows?
Yeah, kind of. Well, in the one that you just drew, it was actually it was still just a fade, but it was very seamless. They did a really good job. I think it had to do with the way that the rendering was drawn, so the line art wasn't very prominent and stuff like that. The way I like to do it, which is the most effort.
Yay! It's okay. It's okay.
And I have to get very specific here. The upper arm has like just a perfectly round nub, and the lower arm has a perfectly round nub, and they have the perfect even transition, like middle point between them. Okay. Then this actually may or may not work depending on the rendering style, but this is what I did on my model, at least, because my rendering style is very simple. Then when you rotate this,
that's almost like a paper doll.
Yes, you have a completely third layer. Let me get a different color. That is underneath both of these layers, that grows out and becomes the elbow. So I should note, I suppose, that the line art would be like this. That's kind of the important part.
Yeah.
And actually, I guess maybe the blue would be above the green, maybe question mark. I don't know. It's kind of tricky from there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and then this has its own line art, and then you just change the shape of this third layer as the forearm rotates up. That's the smoothest way you can possibly do it.
Is there a reason why you prefer this? Is it just create like a higher quality animation, or how is this different?
I find the fade between the regular elbow, the straight down arm and the elbow to be quite jarring. And it's kind of hard to do it right. I mean, it's possible, but it's just, especially when you get to a certain point where it's like if your arm is moving a lot, it gets really weird. Where this will always be perfectly smooth no matter what you do. It's way more work, and it's kind of hard to pull off depending on the rendering, but it will always look good.
So to kind of let me draw it on my model, I guess, so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I have my arm here. I'm gonna zoom in. So the red portion will be 1.
Yes.
Right? And then the orange portion will be 1. And I have to make sure that this area is like perfectly symmetrical, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so split.
So that you have to make it so that when you rotate on the joint, it's like perfectly round, perfectly circular.
Right, okay. So actually, let me do this. It'll be on a separate layer. Okay, so I'm gonna do blue here so that when I rotate this and I put the anchor point here in the center, it'll look like this, essentially, right? And now because there's this gap here, you fill that in with the elbow layer, which was here purple, something like this, and this would create essentially the elbow of the arm.
The elbow would grow out. Yeah,
and then so when you rotate, I guess this would rotate together.
Yeah, at that point the elbow would rotate with it. Yeah.
Oops. Here, like this. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I should note that this technique is particularly good for bare arms. If you have clothing, it doesn't work as well, obviously, because there's no elbow there. Yeah. And there's like clothing folding to consider and stuff. So this technique is absolutely made for bare arms, which both my model and your model have.
Yeah. So just winter sleeves, everybody.
And by the way that's represented when you actually draw it, the elbow part, obviously the upper arm and forearm part are somewhat straightforward, but the elbow part is pretty much just a circle. You just give me a circle-ish, maybe a slight elbow drawing, and then I don't know, we'll have to talk about that.
Oh, I totally lost you. What happened?
I was just talking about how you would actually draw the elbow part of that layer, the layer.
Okay. I kind of envision it doing line art just at the like corner portion.
Yeah. You don't have to do line art for the whole thing.
Portion would be Yeah. Okay. Quick question: if you did have sleeves on your character, would the rigging process look different?
If you did have sleeves, I would recommend just going transitioning straight from the down to the up versions of the forearm. In just a fade or whatever. Yeah, that's what everyone does.
Someone in my chat is asking, will this model have optional glasses? I think she will, and we kind of briefly touched upon how to add accessories. It's basically, depending on how in-depth you want to go into it, you can create a flat image and pin it to your character, or you can actually draw and rig glasses along with it. So I guess if you had glasses and you wanted to turn the head, it would get a little complicated, huh?
It's not that bad. I've done glasses on a few characters at this point. I mean, it was kind of weird at first, but I think I've mostly gotten used to it. But yeah, actually, as far as the pinning you were talking about, I'm just going to clarify that is actually a feature of the tracking program that we're using.
Oh, okay.
It allows
so it's not for
you
all programs.
It's just it's a purely VTube Studio thing, actually.
Okay.
For instance, I can spawn this. If you look at my stream, sorry, I can only show you my stream.
It's okay. I'll throw you in.
I've spawned this gigantic Pepsi that I can now drag onto me, and it will follow me. And I can just throw that away. So you can actually do that with glasses. I can't see without my glasses.
You're great at balancing that Pepsi. I mean, Pepsi can.
Pepsi. I actually work now for the company that made that. Anyways, the VTuber asset studio that made that drawing of the can of Pepsi. I should clarify.
Very
So
cool.
now here you can just use these glasses, and they're pinned to my face, but it's not a part of my model. It's just a feature of this program that we're using. Or you could actually, one second, where is it? Sorry.
There's like some animation inception going on from because of the delay.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Or you can add glasses to your rig and have them as a toggle. Which is what all the expressions and stuff are. Those are also toggles.
Yeah, so you can do like a channel point redeem, and I can do a plugin kind of thing where you can summon glasses with channel points.
Yes, exactly. There's a popular VTuber Studio plugin called VTS React where you can do stuff like people redeem and you become a monkey and stuff like that.
Oh no, I don't want that.
You can switch models. Of course, you have to have a monkey model. But...
Yeah. I've seen people do like outfit changes too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Very cool. All right, cool. Yeah, I would like to add glasses because comfy bullet draw.
Of course,
I wear
absolutely.
Glasses, so. All right, cool. I will pull you out of here.
Any toggles you require.
And I'm gonna just dump Lewis.
Oh, someone's noting that VC Face, you can pin items onto the model. But VC Face is a 3D program. We're just talking about 2D VTubers.
Yep.
Yeah, we're just talking about 2D VTubers. So yeah, that's the complicated stuff about elbows. Good thing it's only true of elbows.
So can't we apply the same logic to teeth? I mean, we can revisit this later, but I feel like you can have a growing teeth thing. I could just draw like little teeth peeking at the bottom of the mouth, and you can just have it grow into a grin.
You know what? We'll talk about that when we rig it, and then you'll be able to see what the problem is.
Oh,
I mean, the answer is yes. It will look very strange. Anyways.
All right, elbows.
Elbows done.
Okay,
hands.
now the cuffs.
Hands.
Okay.
Well, I'll just. Yeah, the cuffs. We talked about the cuffs. Though we got the cuffs, though, right?
Oh yeah. Okay, they're kind of like the ribbon.
Yeah, you draw the front and the back.
Twirly-doos. Okay. Yeah.
Pretty simple. Hands. Palm and each finger. They should all be their own layers.
Okay.
I think that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, based on how you drew it here, I might even say that the palm should be 2 separate layers because you have this dynamic where the hand is like bent so much that you might even show like this as a separate palm, and then this is as the front palm. Let me do a different color. This as like the front palm. And then still each finger is its own layer.
Question about arms or hands. How do you choose what kind of hand you want? Because like, okay, if I were to flip my elbow up, right, and my arm up, and it stays in that hand, is that gonna look weird? Because this hand position is...
Yeah, actually, also someone in chat just mentioned that. Yes, you need to draw a version of the hand that's up.
And would it just like flip, like transition fade into the other hand?
Yes, it will do that, unfortunately. That's an unavoidable.
Okay. Interesting.
I usually do that when you get to like here or here of the elbow angle.
Yeah.
I just sort of flip to having the hand in this version.
Is there a hand position that is more what's that word? It's more usable in all situations? Or
no.
Is it just you just pick whatever hand you want?
I mean, considering the fact that I am a specialist in finger rigging, whatever hand you give me is fine. Actually, well, I guess that's more of a question for the right hand over here, because it's a much stranger position. But this the left hand here is fine. It's totally fine. I mean, as long as the fingers are all, not too strangely deformed based on the perspective, it should totally be fine.
Well, the pinky will be pretty small from that angle.
That's fine.
Is that going to be okay? Okay.
Because, I mean, we're not really... I mean, we might do some rotation of the hand, like, this way.
Yeah.
But barely any.
Okay.
It won't have... The hand won't have too much movement to it, is what I'm saying. I mean, like, in VTubing in general.
Yeah.
For all this stuff where you want the hand to do cool things, we're just gonna draw a custom hand. So like,
okay.
I should
fist.
note, yeah, I should note that like for the having the up with the hand with the, I don't know, like drawing. I don't know if you're left-handed or right-handed, doesn't matter.
She's ambidextrous.
Yeah, that will be its own drawing.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you could also do one where she's gaming.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. So is that like her default pose?
Yeah, we're just talking about her default pose. We're not even talking about toggles right now.
Would that, like, okay, pretend I drew a gaming pose where she's holding both hands on a controller. Would that arm be able to move as well?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
It won't be like a sticker. I've seen people just do like a PNG.
Yeah, that's
arms.
the common thing, is to just literally put a PNG in front of your VTuber and just,
Here's my arms.
Yeah, I'm video gaming, guys.
All right, cool. Good enough.
Do I need to explain the other arm too, or are we good?
You kind of do, mainly because, let's start from the top and move down, right? So because it's covered by the body, that's why I kind of want to go over it. But you kind of essentially draw it as if it were not covered by the body.
Yes. You can shade it though, because it'll probably be mostly in the shade, you know, hypothetically. So because you won't see most of it anyways, it can just like all be shaded and everything. But yeah, you pretty much draw it as if it's not,
Okay. And then same thing for I guess for the hand, I guess we could just play with how it's split up.
Yeah.
Would I have to do the elbow thing for the other hand as well, or the other arm?
If you want to be able to move that arm, yeah. If you want to be able to pull that arm all the way up, yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Cool.
Which I think you can make some really cute poses if you have like the right arm up and it's like, but anyways.
Okay, I mean it's a fail safe. I'll just do it, and then I can't think of any like poses right now, but I'm sure eventually I will.
That's something we can do in like, that's literally the last step, so don't even worry about it. Like, we've already put it in the tracking program. Then you can do some cool poses.
Yep. When in doubt, pinky out. Absolutely. we fancy VTubers. Okay, cool. So hand makes sense. Torso makes sense. Neck makes sense. Again, chat, if anyone in chat has any questions, yes, please feel free to ask. Nyampasu. Okay, cool. So we did all of that. Now we can move on to the skirt, I guess, or do you want to do the coattails?
Let's do the skirt.
Okay.
I have bad news for you. And that bad news is each of these panels needs to be its own layer.
Oh boy. Good thing whoa, I don't know if you heard that. Good thing she has really chunky pleats.
Yeah, exactly. As far as depending on how much you show of the actual fold here, then it can get a little complicated, because then the fold itself would have to be its own layer. Let me grab it.
Okay.
Let me grab a new color. Oh, it's that song again. It doesn't help. There's only like 10 songs in this playlist, and 2 of them are like old recital pieces. Okay. So then this little fold would have to be its own. It would pretty much almost entirely be covered, but just for that little part that's uncovered, it needs to be its own layer. So like that.
Okay.
So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah. Also, the issue of dividing lines for each pleat. I had to figure out how her pleats work now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Like, no, it makes sense though. I mean, typically you would you see the shadow? I don't think you. Okay, so that hot pink line that you drew, that is essentially. Okay, let me draw it on my screen. So
that's the center one. That would be like below all the other ones.
It's okay. So it's like if her skirt were like.
Let me just flip it.
If her skirt were like this, I guess it's like this. Does that make sense? It's this line. Is that Does that make sense? It's like not. It's not like a. It's not like a. It's not like a cheerleader skirt where it's like this.
Oh yeah.
And there's like a.
Yeah,
like an
yeah. That's
seam
why I was
underneath.
saying that that's what that bright red line where you draw the fold is.
Okay, so it's like this. It's
Yes,
not like,
I'm assuming
okay.
that it's that kind of skirt that you drew. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I just drew it where I just drew big panels overlapping so that there's room for you to actually move them out of the way.
Okay, got it. So I'm gonna put every pleat is a layer.
Yeah.
Man, shading this is gonna be tough. Oh my god, I don't even know how I'm gonna do this. Okay, well, I'll take it step by step.
Yeah.
If anything, I could be a flat colored
There you go.
VTuber.
Super stylized.
There you go.
Next one's easy. Just a big multiply that if you choose to do like a skirt shadow, just a big multiply blob that covers the legs.
This is for oh, okay, so this is for the legs, kind of like the neck
Yes,
shadow, right?
exactly. Yes.
Okay, is there a way, how do I explain this without sounding like a pervert? So, oh, you know what? Let me see if I can find it. This is a deep cut. Have you heard of a anime called Penny Pony Dash?
I love Pony Pony Dash.
Okay. Oh, here, perfect. I don't know if this is gonna be it, but let me chat my screen. So when this character moves, oh god, please don't be really loud. Oh, please don't be really loud. Okay, it's muted. Oh man, she's not moving. Okay, well, do you know this animation?
Yes. She's dancing back and forth, and the skirt flies up.
Yeah. So I wanted it to look like that, but I cannot find the GIF of it.
Oh,
yeah,
I forgot to mention the back of the skirt.
So essentially, is there a way that we can have the skirt flip up a little bit? A little bit, just a little bit.
I actually have great news for you.
Okay.
That's the easiest part of the skirt, which is that
beautiful.
you just need to draw one big flat layer that represents looking at the skirt from below.
Okay.
It can just be one layer because you barely see it. Oh, sorry, I'm not showing my screen. There we go. So this would probably just pretty much be the same as this skirt that you drew on top, but all one layer and like shaded dark.
Okay.
But yeah, so that will represent the skirt.
Does it have to follow the front pleats?
No, it doesn't have to, because this is literally the back of the skirt that shows when the front part of the skirt flips up.
Oh, okay.
Like this is the skirt that's covering her butt, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it can be kind of its own.
Yeah,
thing.
it can just do whatever, and you barely see it, so it can just be one layer.
So this is kind of like the back of the head again, or the back of the collar.
Yeah, it's exactly like the back of the collar. It's exactly like the back of the collar.
Okay.
Yep.
Skirt. And you're able to manipulate the pleats so that they kind of look like they're flipping.
Yep.
Upwards.
I mean, to show the bottom of this. Do you want me to show the bottom of the pleats?
Is it possible? It doesn't have to be like a really big flip, but just to give the illusion that it's.
I feel like if the skirt was flipped up that far, you would just see her panties.
You trying to deter me from doing it?
I mean, a little bit, but I also just think that. Just based on live 2D and stuff.
What if, okay, so here's her hips, right? What if I did this kind of action where it's like this? Is that what you're able to do? And then you would see like this is the back side of this. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly what that's what I'm explaining. Yeah, that's exactly what the setup that I just explained.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this blue part would be essentially the same thing.
Exactly.
But it's slightly higher. But doesn't it normally match or?
Well, it normally would, but it's not. You can't see it in live 2D, so we just make it a little higher.
Oh, okay. So slightly higher.
I mean, it doesn't really matter on your part. I can move it myself, but
okay. Yeah. And front pleats. Just put it there.
People are telling me not to tell you what to do because I told. I'm like, wouldn't you see this? The panties? And I'm like, don't tell her what to do.
Just for this particular thing, now they're fighting for me.
Yeah,
I see.
of course.
Oh gosh, people are already imagining channel points for perverted things.
Get
Bonk
Belinda
all of
banned
you.
off Twitch speedrun.
No, I just debuted. Don't get me canceled yet. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Don't put Belinda in a box. All right. Okay, and then just a quick thing for the pleats. How high does it need to go up? The front pleats, just under her waist is fine. It's kind of like the bangs, right, where they converge at like the waist.
To the point that they're hidden is the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one that's like where the coattail or the front of the vest goes up, like that one has to be...
I would normally the answer would be the waistband, but you can't see the waistband. So up into the vest, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh my god, that's right. We'll deal with that later. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, the two flippy things. You wanted them to flip up. That's a thing.
The flippy things, the coattails?
The coattails. You wanted the coattails. You wanted the front coattails to flip up and you be able to see the other side.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. Is it too complicated?
It's not complicated. It's just hard for me to explain what you have to do. It's not complicated on either of our parts, really, in order to execute it. It's just difficult for me to explain what you have to do.
Okay, so it's possible.
It's totally possible. I don't know if to be honest, I don't know if it would look right. It might look a little strange, like they're overreacting to the movement. But you know, we cross that bridge when we get there.
There you go. That's our mantra. All right, sounds good. Let's continue then. Do you want to tackle the coattails or do you want to go into the legs then? Or the legs are, I guess we're... Oh no, we didn't do the legs yet.
Yeah, they're both, actually, the coattails will already explain that stuff that I said was going to be complicated about the little front panels. So let's just go to the coattails, shall we?
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Okay, the flappy flaps on her.
Yeah,
on the front of her vest.
The front of her vest, the little flappy, the little triangles. That's what I was talking about. So, but it doesn't matter because I have to explain the same thing anyways. So, you want these coattails to be super bouncy. You want them to flip all around. You want them to be super animated. Am I correct?
Yes, and again, let me show chat the like some reference images because this is... So she's very active. So I know there's a bunch of other characters behind her, but if you follow this coattail, this one like flips upwards, which is what we're struggling with, and then this one goes all the way around like this. Like they essentially are a tail, I guess. They they're very light. So when she jumps up, it will like go all over the place, I guess. Well, I mean, there's some gravity to it, but that's how it works. Yeah, I would like there to be some character in the tails.
Absolutely. So there's two ways we can do this, and I kind of feel like the easier way would actually look better, but I don't know. What are these lines?
They're also pinstripes.
Oh, okay. I would say that the easier way and might look better is to just draw the flip part as its own layer.
Okay.
And then the outer part as its own layer. And then you can just, you know, sort of... I put them on the same layer so I can't do the thing. Okay. So, and then you can just show the blue... Ooh, oh boy, what just happened? Okay, you can show the blue more to show that it's like flipping around, basically. I think that actually is matching more what you're showing me. There's another way we can do it that might be a little...
Is it like the ahoge?
Yes, it's exactly like the ahoge. It's literally exactly the same as what I'm explaining right now.
Okay.
But it does limit you on how much you can turn it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't decided how much of the... how much and how far the flips and which directions the flip should go.
Yes. So if you wanted to be able to flip both directions and be kind of crazy and... there's another way we can do this. And I'm not super experienced in this method. And I don't know how exactly good we can make it look, but I'm willing to try. And that method is you draw 2 layers perfectly straight. One is the front side and one is the back side.
Okay.
And then I can paste them together and sort of flip them around.
Okay. I think worst case scenario, or like the tamest version, I guess, would be it would look as if it were right now, like curled slightly, and then they would just bounce. I think that would also look kind of cute. I don't know if like having it flop all over the place would look better.
Exactly, yeah.
It might be too much now that I think about it.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's like, you know, if she hopped or something, I would like it to bounce a little bit. I feel like maybe that would be actually better. I don't know.
I mean, we can get it to curl quite a bit. With the first method we described, I mean, you can get it to even
like
curl like this much, you know. It just depends on how big we draw the underlayer.
I guess what I should do is just, like you said, draw the front facing view and then draw the back facing view, and then we can just decide from there, because it's the most information that you can have, right? And you can just
kind of, yeah, sure.
And then if it doesn't work, I'll just draw new coattails. That's
exactly,
fine.
yeah, exactly.
Would the same principle apply to the coattail on her right side?
Yes, exactly the same.
Okay. And you would just make it, I guess, slightly shorter for perspective?
Yeah, whatever. Something.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Cool. That method I was talking about of drawing the front and back side is exactly what I was going to explain for this triangle.
Okay.
So that when it flips up like this, I can show the back side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I would just draw 2 triangles.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna have literal twin tails. Very cool. It's redefined twin tails.
Okay.
Right.
I'm excited because we're almost done.
Me too. And then I have homework.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So.
Are you okay so far? You want to take a break?
Oh, I'm totally fine. I mean, maybe I'll just take a sip of water, but that's it.
Okay. Dorito flaps. That's a great way. We're gonna call them Dorito flaps from now on.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 hours just flew by. Can you believe it?
I still have to figure out what I'm streaming tomorrow. I just wrote streaming something for Saturday, and I still haven't decided. Probably live 2D.
Oh yeah, I guess we could take a quick break right now, let Lua stretch and stuff, but plug in Lua's social medias again. She has her own streaming schedule and everything. And how often do you stream? Like or four days out of the week?
4 times a week.
She streams on YouTube, so please like and subscribe, ring that bell, something.
I never say that stuff.
I'll say it for you. Like and subscribe on her channel. Yeah, and she does lots of live streaming, so she does variety streams. She does this cool green screen stream.
That was so
workout
wacky.
streams, washing dishes streams.
I do that. I do. It's the only way I can get myself to clean my house is by streaming it. It's pretty sad.
I get it, because streaming helps keep me productive too.
Right?
So.
Absolutely.
When you have a bunch of eyes on you, you're like, oh man, now I gotta do this. I can't.
Partly that, but also for me, just like having someone to talk to and like keep my mind off of what I'm doing like helps a lot.
Yeah, I agree. So chat, you guys are the MVPs here. But yes, do follow her and follow her for her shenanigans. And then if you guys want
chaotic and wacky.
You are chaotic and wacky.
Good, that's the energy I'm going for.
And she is also streaming live 2D rigging recently.
Yes, I have a commission, so it's a lot of that.
Yeah, so
I
if you
probably
wanna...
honestly will spend all day tomorrow streaming live 2D rigging.
So if you want to like fast forward through the process and watch her, and I'm sure she'll be very helpful with questions.
Oh, absolutely! I'll absolutely answer any questions you have.
Yeah, so
it'll
if you're sick
it'll
of
be
the
kind of
drawing
interesting
process,
to see a peek into the future.
Yes, definitely. Just see what you're in for. And then I guess quick intermission, I guess, as well. I'm saying I guess a lot, but these lessons are held every Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time to usually 11 p.m. Pacific, but it looks like we're going to go a little bit over today. And then if you want to catch me... Okay, cool. And if you want to catch me on my streams, I typically do Tuesdays and Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific time.
I love Belinda's streams. They honestly, I don't know what it is about them, but they make me so focused. I have a really bad focus problem, and they help me focus more than anything else that I have in my life.
So I'm basically the opposite of Lewis streams.
Yeah.
We're all chill vibes at my stream. But yeah, I essentially do well, Tuesdays are now designated kind of as gaming day / drawing streams, and then Fridays are designated for these lesson streams. But I do like periodic streams throughout the week spontaneously.
You've been doing a lot of gorilla streams recently. No mic streams.
I do. So I turn off the mic and then I just chat with you guys in the chat box. But I just play some cool music that gets DMCA copyrighted. So watch them live, otherwise they'll be muted.
I can't remember if I mentioned this in chat, but your playlist is so similar to mine that in one of your last no mic streams, I was just lurking, and like 5 different times I kept clicking Spotify to try to pause the music because I thought it was my music playing.
So Lua and I have good taste in music, so
yeah,
follow along. And yeah, the only way that you'll be notified is if there's like a little bell next to the follow button on my screen, so you can get like a what is it, like a notification or an email of some kind when I go live. Otherwise, they're normally not announced. Also, I have a community Discord, which I will plug in my chat if your chat wants to hop over to my chat to look. But it's basically a community Discord I've been growing. There's about 170 some members at this point, and Lua is a resident there. So if you do have live T questions, you can always ping her. And if you have any illustration questions, there's a bunch of illustrators there and just art appreciators in general. So we'll look forward to seeing you there if you'd like to join us. And that is my intermission spiel again.
All I could think when you said art appreciators was that like Chad meme.
Oh God. Yeah. So there's a lot of little categories we have. We have FF14's category and drawing category and video games and all that fun stuff. Very fun area. So come on and join us if you'd like, and you can watch the progress of this VTuber grow. Yeah. All right.
Blin
cool.
Chad.
Blin Chad. Yeah, I have a Blin Chad skin for my PNG tuber when I feel chatty.
So we're almost done here, actually.
Hooray!
The rest of this is quite simple. It's just you go to the hips. You go to the hip joint is where you go all the way up to, basically, and it's all one layer. Bottom of the kneecaps, bottom of the ninth. No. And then the new layer. The calves to the foot are one layer. You put this as a round thing because then what you do, where's that transform tool I'm always looking for? You just go like this. Basically.
So does it need a kneecap?
Yeah, the
like
kneecap needs to be part of the hip.
Wait, how is that different from the elbow? Like,
because you don't need a third layer. Oh, sorry, the kneecap isn't the third layer. It's just part of the hip layer.
Why is it different, drawn differently?
Because it's the leg and no one sees it, so it doesn't need to be very complicated.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yep, that's it.
All right, cool.
And also, leg doesn't rotate all the way up to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I want to kick up my heels.
Oh, that'd be so cute. We'll do that. But it still doesn't need as much as the arm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So pretty simple. And then the foot.
Same principle for the leg and the back, right?
Yeah, exact same principle.
Okay.
The whole foot is just one layer.
Beautiful. Yeah. Including the ribbon on her ankle, right?
Yeah, the ribbon on her ankle should be part of the foot, probably, maybe part of the calf. I don't know. It's kind of up to you, depending on where you split these two. It doesn't need to be super precise. People do this differently everywhere, and it's, you can just sort of eyeball it.
Okay.
And then the ribbon's on the back, just like all the other ribbons. I think you get the ribbon thing at this point.
Do I need I can keep it. Do I need to split it in like the head ribbon or like the chest ribbon?
More like the chest ribbon, yeah.
Oh, okay, truss ribbon.
because this is at the bottom, so no one's gonna see them that much anyways. So you can just do
Okay.
each thing separate, and each
Okay.
like loop its own layer, and then the bottom thing its own layer.
Oh, okay. I see. Nice. All right.
That's pretty much it. Well, actually, you might want to make the heel its own layer, just so we can
okay.
rotate the foot a little bit.
Should I draw the underside of the shoe?
I don't think the foot will ever be rotated that much, so no.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think just
if
the
she
heel.
does kick her heel up all the way, you would see the bottom of the shoe. But since we're not
Even
doing
then,
that,
I don't think you. Well, I guess yeah. If the leg went all the way up to here, you might. Yeah, but
yeah.
I
But
don't
we're
think
not
that's
gonna go
happening.
that far.
Yeah, probably the most would probably be here,
Okay.
which would still be.
Tra-la-la. Look at my girly pose.
Oh, it's gonna be so cute. I'm so excited.
Me too. Oh my god.
But that's it.
Yay! All right. So wait, why is the heel on its upper layer?
Oh, just so I can turn the foot a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, should I care to?
Okay, that makes sense. Oh boy. Man, maybe I'll start drawing with the leg. The bottom half first.
And then move your way up. The leg is the easiest part always.
All right, cool.
Because you might notice that the level of complexity is lowest at the bottom and highest at the top because you only ever see the top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
so
sense.
It's by design.
Okay, so quick question on the arms. If I were to, so we mentioned that if I had like different arms, like a drawing arm,
Yes.
I would draw a separate hand for it.
Yes.
But what about like drawing the hand? Like, okay, if she were to, would you be able to apply a 3D effect to those hands as well? Like, for example, could I tip my brush up and down?
Yeah, as long
and
as the
have the
brush is
hand
its own
move.
layer, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry, I just hiccuped.
How would I go about drawing that? Can we do it like a demo on a hand? Sorry, I'm gonna hopefully it won't go too far over, but
I think if you're doing a draw, actually, yeah, you just draw it for me. Draw
Okay.
for me.
okay, I will draw for you. Okay, so man, I don't even know what it looks like to hold a pencil. Or,
I know, right? That's exactly what I was about to draw. Then I was like, actually, don't know what that looks like, and I don't want to embarrass myself.
So here is like maybe a good example. So here's like the palm, right?
Mhm.
And then here's the finger.
Mhm.
And it would be the thumb and the pointer finger would be resting on the brush. And then the rest of the fingers are curled in. And
Sure.
then the brush would be like different color, would be like this, right?
Yeah.
So is there a chance that like, you know, the brush would go up or not like this, but like this?
I know.
No,
Because
Okay.
in this case, we would have the brush follow your mouse cursor.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I guess technically, even if it did do that, we could just have the whole hand rotate up.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
Is like,
We could do
should
that.
there be a down hand and an up hand? Is that too complicated?
You
Is
don't
that
need a
like,
down hand and an up hand. I feel like. I mean, we can do that. So, I mean, just specifically for this hand that I'm staring at here, because
Mhm.
this is the hand that's going to be tracking your pen. This would be the hand itself would be 4 layers, and that is your index
Palm?
finger, your thumb,
Uh-huh.
the other 3 fingers, and the palm.
Okay.
It is not as complicated as the full hand, but just that pretty much.
Yeah.
And then the brush should be 2 layers, which is, you know, the brush part and the handle,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
that's everything. And then the whole forearm would just be 1 layer.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. And then, oh man, I'm trying to like envision like different hands. But I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah. You'd write
I
out a
do
list
have-
of all the arms you want to draw.
Yeah, I do have one other question. So I wanted to see if this was possible, and I kind of brought it up during one of my no mic streams, or was it? No, it wasn't the no mic stream. It was last week's Friday stream after after stream workout. So Belindra has an updated version with a palette on her hat.
Oh,
Let me
yeah,
see if I can find it.
yeah.
And this was like a design choice. I was debating if I should add or not, but
Yes. We can make it a toggle.
yeah, I wanted to ask if we can have oh wait, no, that's not what I meant. But I wanted to ask if we could have the okay. So this is her other. This is her other character, or her other design. So do you notice how there's like paint splotches all over her?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a characteristic I always add on her. And I was wondering, is it possible to make these like change colors? Like the paint splotches and the paint things on her palette. Yeah, RGB
The short
gamer
answer is
paint.
yes. The long answer is yes, and it would be a lot easier if we wait for the next Live 2D update.
Oh, okay, really?
There's the next Live 2D update has some features that make changing colors so much easier. But I'm not super worried about it. The short answer is yes, we can totally do that.
Okay, I'll cross up. Maybe I'll update her model to have the palette. If I were to draw the paint splotches on her, how would I go about adding that on my model? Is that like one layer per color? No, one layer per blob?
It would be one layer per
Splotch.
per piece. So like if we were just talking about the actual image you're showing me here, there would be one for the cheek, one for the nose, because the nose moves separate from the rest of the face. There'd be one for the torso and one for the bangs. Oops, sorry.
Okay. Makes sense. Nice. All right, I guess man, should I add this in? I guess I should. It's kind of cute.
I mean, we can have it turn on and off.
Oh, that's true. Okay, like an upgrade version with the paint palette. Okay,
Be a redeem.
cool. Yes, redeem, waste channel points so I don't have to ooh talk. All right, cool. So that is all my notes so far. I think I kind of understand the gist of it. Luckily, the body seems to be a lot less complex than the head.
Yes.
Which is great. All right, so I guess that's it. Chat, if you have any questions, ask them now or forever hold your peace. And Lua, I'm sure you're very exhausted, so I will dismiss you shortly.
Nah, I'm gonna keep working after this, probably.
Okay.
I always
speaking
do.
of which, I am also going to keep working after this stream.
See, as long as you're having a productive stream, I have to stay awake and keep working.
But no, I mean, I know you haven't gotten a lot of sleep because you're always working on your other stuff, but...
I got a lot of sleep last night. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, great. Then we're not sleeping tonight.
Woo!
Here
That was
we
my
go.
plan.
Yeah, it's great
All
because...
according to Keikaku.
So I'm going to continue the stream on my end. If you'd like, you can hop over to twitch.tv/Belindra and follow me there. I'm sure Lua will hop over and she will
I'll
sit
be
in
in
my
chat
while
almost certainly.
bug her in chat and be like, am I doing this right?
And I'll attempt to yeah.
She'll be like, no, you gotta add the flappy flap on top of the doohickey. And I'll be like, okay, I don't understand. But we do our best. All right, so yeah, if you want to hop over to twitch.tv/Belindra, no sleep gang, let's go. I probably go for like another hour or two. I always say that and I end up going for like another 3.5 hours.
You do.
But
You're such a workaholic. I mean, I'm
hate
one to
myself.
talk, but
yeah, so all right, thank you, Lua. So today we covered the layering of the body. Basically pretty straightforward. You just have to think of things in layers. So, you know, the vest goes in front of the blouse, which goes in front of the whatever, and the skirt, and blah blah blah. Watch the VOD. And then complicated thing is the elbow could be broken into 3 parts instead of 2 parts. Maple Meadows TV, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. They have come from the YouTube stream. And then yeah, I'm gonna just work my way through this brute strength this and see if I can figure this out while Lua's still awake. But yeah, I appreciate everyone coming in. Next week, I mean, I guess depending on how far I get, what would be our next lesson?
huh.
Shading?
Yeah, rendering.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
and that's I mean that's not a lot of input for me. That's just you trying rendering and then figuring out, oh no, all of my work processes don't work. But I don't think there's any gotchas to that. I think it'd be pretty obvious for you, you know, what's going on.
Okay. Next lesson, coding the entire Live 2D engine from scratch. Yikes!
I am actually learning how to put Live 2D, how to use Live 2D in Unity, so that's fun.
What do you think about you kind of driving next week and you kind of going over the UI of,
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I can do that.
Live
The
2D?
basics of Live 2D.
Yeah, and I'll be the little box in the corner this time, and I'll be rendering away, and just interrupting you when I have questions.
Yeah, maybe I can try starting to import some of your stuff that probably won't. Well, I don't know how much it'll change, so I don't know. It's yeah, that's a little bit of a I don't know.
But
We'll
you
do
said
something.
you said originally if I gave you a file and as long as I kept it the same size, you could just kind of
Yes, that's true.
work with it,
Oh,
right?
by the way, I wanted to mention this so much earlier in the stream and I completely forgot. For my own sanity, I would really appreciate if you put the head, which is symmetrical, in the middle of the canvas. Because Live 2D allows you to mirror things, like flip things, but it's only along the middle of the canvas.
How do I know what the middle of my canvas is?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll do some math.
I think if you turn... Oh, wait, CSP. Yeah, I'm
Ruler
not sure.
tool. Yeah, I mean, there's a ruler, but I don't know, like, it goes from 0 to something, 10 and something. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll draw like a box or something and try to match it up. But anyway, that's for later struggles.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's fine. Sorry for keeping you up so late.
No,
You talk the whole time.
My sleep schedule's been really wacky recently. Sometimes I'm up until 4. Sometimes I go to bed at 8. It's really messed up.
We love it. We love degenerate hours. That's when we're most productive.
No, I don't understand how you function. You go to bed so late. I prefer to go to bed as early as physically possible, but I never do. I physically can't.
I would like that, but I have ghosts that haunt me, so it has to keep
Same.
me awake.
Same.
Womp womp. All right, cool. So thank you again, Lua. Again, see, it looks like we have no questions. So if you want to follow the stream and watch me struggle to actually apply our lessons today, twitch.tv/bullanddraw. And Lua will be streaming tomorrow. What is it? youtube.com/Lua Lucky? Is that how it works? Let me plug her social.
It's not. How does it work?
It is lua.com/c/Lua Lucky CH.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and then yeah, please give her a follow, like, and subscribe, all that, so you can catch her live streams. And then yeah, I guess I'll see you next week, Lua. Well, I guess I'll see you in a little bit, but I'll speak to you next week, Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes, I'll parasocially be in your chat.
Yeah, sounds great. And then I guess we'll be covering, well, I guess it depends on me how far I get, but yeah, I guess the idea will be that you can start walking through the UI. Hopefully I'll get as much done as possible, but
Heck yeah.
it's gonna be hard to start rigging it without me rendering it either, right?
It more has to do with the shape not changing, the outside shape not changing. Worst case scenario, I have lots of models I can rig.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, sounds good. Then
Yeah.
I guess we'll just figure it out. I don't, maybe we can pause the lessons itself, but we can still do a co-stream and we'll just figure it out. We'll just play it by ear. Yeah, all right then. Thank you again. I'll see you next week.
See
Goodbye.
you. Goodbye. Bye, everyone.
I'll see you later.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.